Greetings, everyone. It's the end of the year, so I guess we have to do one of these year in review things that are always all the rage this time of year.
Is this our first time doing something like this?
I think we
I
might have
think
done
so.
one maybe a while ago, but yeah.
I don't remember being involved
Uh,
in once. I
so
don't
let's
know.
let's take a look back at 2015 and all the new games we've played throughout the year. Of course, according to my list, 3 or 4 of these are revisits of games that were already out, maybe over a decade ago, and I found that as an excuse to
Yeah,
revisit them.
yeah. I honestly did not play very many new games this year. I went back to games that I had played before or had never played but were out old. Like I only listed stuff that came out this year just to keep it relevant. But I think a common theme for a lot of us is that we spend a lot more time with our backlog in 2015 than with new stuff. So that's
Yeah.
Or at least a lot of time on one individual game, which I'll reveal what that is later down the road
I
as
know what
we
it is. I know.
review them.
I know.
Yeah, you probably already know what it is, as Lewis probably does too. But all right. So how early do we go back? Because mine is February with Majora's Mask 3D.
What about Resident Evil HD Remaster?
I did not get that.
Oh.
Oh.
Well,
Well then.
well, it'd probably be a good idea, too, because you're in charge of Resident Evil 1, so...
Ugh.
Yeah, but I haven't had the time to go back and replay that. I
Fair
was more
enough.
excited for Majora's Mask 3D. I mean, do you guys go as early as back to January? Because we can start with you
Well, the
guys.
first game of the year that was new that I technically played was Pokemon Shuffle, and fuck Pokemon Shuffle because
Oh, we're
it's
off to a
the
great
it's
start.
the exact reason why people hate free to play games, and that's just all I'm gonna say about it because it's awful and I hate it. So yeah, I didn't play Majora's Mask 3D, partly because that game's terrible. No,
But we
You're,
have you to thank for it.
yeah, you're
shut
still
up,
bitter about that, aren't you?
Said you wasn't
shut up.
said it wasn't going to come out.
Just
Came out.
I'm gonna go hide in a corner for a little bit, and when I'm back, your guys are gonna be done talking about Majora's Mask 3D. Okay.
All right then. I mean, I've already beaten the game 3, 4 times at this point, front to back, beginning to end. I love Majora's Mask, and I think the 3D iteration is probably the best version of the
Well,
game.
it fixed so many problems.
Yes, it really does. And if you haven't played it yet, I heavily recommend it. It's definitely worth getting a 3DS over, I would say, along with a lot of other things. It seems like Between Worlds is probably right up there, but I'm really happy with how Majora's Mask 3D came out. So go play that, please.
I'm kind of surprised at how much Zelda we have on 3DS. We have 2 remakes, A Link Between Worlds, and the multiplayer one.
Triforce Heroes, yeah.
Yeah.
I did buy that one to stay on topic on Zelda for a second. I did buy Triforce Heroes like launch week, but I have yet to play it yet because I'm actually saving my first time with Derek. Uh,
Oh, you're just saving yourself for him, huh?
yeah, we Pennsylvanians have to stick together,
Oh
and we
my.
have to be together.
Ooh. Okay, so well, yeah. I did look. It's also the another thing to note. I think the new 3DS came out early this year as
Yeah.
well, and
Yep, because it came out with Majora's Mask, and I have the special Majora's Mask new 3DS.
Aren't you
Yay!
hot shit?
no, okay. I want to say the new 3DS is made pretty goddamn poorly because mine's falling apart already, and
Oh, really?
yeah,
Really?
yeah. I mean, granted, I did drop it a couple, like
Oh,
dozen times.
that probably explains it then.
Yeah, but no,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not just that. Like the
Granted, I threw it out a window.
like it's
Hit it
like
with a sledgehammer?
okay, well, if the GameCube can survive it, okay. So
Yeah, but GameCube's Tonka tough.
Yeah.
yeah, but
GameCube made out of freaking Nokia phones.
yeah, but it's just not a lot of games really took advantage of the 3DS this year, and I mean I expected that because
Well, who
like
cares about the 3D anymore?
yeah, well that true, but I'm more talking about like the amiibo functionality and the second
Extra
Well,
and the extra horsepower,
you
but
know, if you were a game developer, would you take advantage of something that people aren't going to be able to get because everyone else went out and bought out all the amiibos to scalp them off people?
I mean that I'm more talking about like just adding new 3DS features into your games. Like I think Hyrule Warriors 3DS is going to have the 3D only be available if you play it on the new 3DS because of the horsepower and stuff like that. Like I'm more talking about I'm surprised not as many games have done stuff like that. So, eh. But yeah, as far as I've heard, Majora's Mask 3D was a great remastering of the original game. Um,
definitely is.
yeah.
Can't recommend it enough.
So would you play that over the original now?
No, definitely.
Okay.
I would definitely play it over the original.
Okay, cool. All right. I'm probably not going to get it, but it's good to know. Yeah. Did anything else come out early in the year?
Dragon Ball Xenoverse, John.
I
play that?
haven't played it. No.
Oh, really?
I was very my curiosity peaked at some point, but the money wasn't right, and by the time the money was right, I forgot about it completely.
That game fell off the face of the earth really quickly.
Yes,
I
it
noticed.
did.
Yeah, it did.
Like, wasn't there something about the servers, or something like only like a month or two after release for Xenoverse?
There was some minor issue with the servers. They're not particularly good, but at the same time, the game can be played offline. So, But ultimately, the issue with Xenoverse is that while it's fun, and while it's interesting to be able to create your own character,
So much grinding.
well, yeah, there's that too. But it doesn't have a whole lot to it. Like not as much as it would take to justify the weirdly MMORPG style that it's going for. You know, so you know I like it, and it's a fun game to play through over a weekend, but it doesn't have the staying power that it seems like they were going for. But yeah, I played that like pretty much immediately after it came out. It was a fun time.
And then I quickly dropped it after like 2 weeks.
Pretty much, yeah.
Damn. Who wants to go next?
I might as well. I have a pretty short list here. This year was the year I finally got a decent gaming desktop, thanks to Zakusi, who donated his old GTX 760 graphics card to me, so I can actually run things. And I took full advantage of this to actually run things on my computer. I have a Steam list that's like 3 times as long as it used to be, and I took the opportunity to get into some MMORPGs, particularly the Elder Scrolls Online, Tamriel Unlimited, which is pretty okay, but I haven't gotten too deep into it, and I can sort of see where some of the problems might be. Star Wars The Old Republic, which just got a new expansion that I really need to try out, and Final Fantasy XIV, which I know a lot more about now than I did when we did that promo video, and I sort of wish I could go back and redo that, because
maybe for another giant wad of cash.
I was thinking of doing a Heavensward follow-up at some point. Later down the road.
Yeah, because when you did that, you had only just barely gotten all of the Heavensward stuff, so you couldn't really show anything off besides the Dragon People race, if I remember correctly. So I played some Final Fantasy XIV myself, and like I had a lot of fun during the free month it got, but unfortunately I didn't have the funds or the time, because like I started playing that right around the time my new semester at school started, so
yeah.
I didn't have the funds or the time to dedicate to an MMO when I was going to do classes. But it was I'm gonna give it to the game. It is quite a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm jumping the gun a bit here, and I know this doesn't technically count for 2015. I mean, it is sort of relevant because of Heavensward, which was released this year. 14 is my game of the year for 2015.
Really?
Because of how much time I've placed into it since my video on my personal channel and since the BrainScratch video we did. You know, because I had no experience with Final Fantasy XIV when we did the BrainScratch video. I think that's pretty obvious in the commentary itself. And then with the video on my personal channel, about 35, 40 hours. I now have 163 hours on that game.
Pshaw, John. I've got 170 on Splatoon. Get wrecked.
What is my hour count sitting at? And I've sort of stalled off the game because I've been on the Xenoblade binge, and I can only take so much real-time RPG at one time. 693 hours. Why am I always so close to another 100-hour threshold when I look at these things?
Oh, Lewis, you're beating my Hyrule Warriors count now. Because that's, since I haven't had a lot of time to do Grindfests with Catherine, that's still sitting at like 450-ish. So, congratulations.
What the hell is wrong with you, Ted?
Oh, well, I want to...
I was only partway through my list, though, so I should actually talk about the other games that I played.
I'm just going down the date list on the Wikipedia entry. So
Yeah.
March, I guess another thing John played was FNAF 3.
Yeah.
FNAF.
And I might as well take this time to go to Five Nights at Freddy's 4, which is also released this year. And,
Yeah.
The Halloween
Yeah.
the Halloween DLC did actually come out on Halloween though. So,
yes, it did. But then he went back to his old ways by releasing the book earlier than intended.
there's that was only like a weekend early though, so
Yeah, he released a book. Elliot has it already.
Does Elliot
He's
like
liking
it?
so far?
He-
He's reading the book now. I haven't gotten a major general synopsis on it just yet, but he seems to be enjoying it.
So does the book of FNAF, when you just turn the page, a little illustration of a mechanical bear jumping out at you?
Yeah, like
It's a pop-up book.
paperback jump scare. Yeah, it's a pop-up book.
I actually during the Steam sale I did get FNAFs 1 and 2. I don't own 3 yet though.
No.
Or 4. But I will say, like, it has made YouTube very interesting over the past couple of months.
Has it?
Well, there are a lot of videos on Five Nights at Freddy's, and I mean a
Yeah.
lot of
I noticed
videos.
that doesn't seem all that interesting to me because they're all sort of the same thing.
Yeah, well, there's
But,
some.
Well, you're watching it for the personality at that point, not so much the content.
It's
Yeah.
I can't say anything about the gameplay because I haven't played one of them. I find
Gameplay?
good point. I find the universe fascinating. I'm going to say that, and I actually am very much looking forward to that weird RPG thing he's going to be making with the cute versions of all the characters.
That's the only Five Nights at Freddy's game that I care about.
Well, if you're into true terror, I still recommend the fourth game. I think the fourth game really gets that down pat with just fucking with you. You know,
When I play a horror game, I play it as much for the exploration as for the actual scare factor.
Yeah, I think with
So-
Five Nights at Freddy's 4, you know what you're getting yourself into when
Well,
buying
yeah,
the game.
I know what I'm getting myself into, and I don't really care for it, so I'm just not gonna play it.
Yeah, but I'm thinking I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to everyone listening in. If you're on the fence about it, if you're really like getting your pants scared out of you, then I think FNAF 4, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 will do that the best. So yeah, I recommend that one as for a great horror game. Not so much Five Nights at Freddy's 3. I actually think that one's the worst of the.
From what I can tell, it seems like it because a lot of the stuff seems very cryptic and dumb. Like I don't know how you're supposed to find all the mini games in that one.
Well,
to get
you're
the-
just talking about exploring the lore. I'm just talking about gameplay itself. I didn't find it that very interesting.
Well, it's basically just you're only watching for one thing in that one, so it's not as hectic.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that I've seen, like having to wait to reset the ventilation in the cameras, that seems more tedious than tense to me personally. So this is coming from someone who has learned a lot about the series but hasn't played a game. It looks like the least fun one to play for sure. So. I'm probably gonna go see the movie though.
Oh yeah, so am I.
Yeah.
Elliot's probably already got tickets pre-ordered. Probably not even out yet.
No, Scott Cawthon put pre-orders up early. So
Yesterday, yeah. Fuck it. I should have known.
Surprise, surprise! The movie's already out.
Oh my god.
Instant DVD out before you even see it in the theaters.
It's the consent.
Yeah.
They're out in stores before the movie's even finished.
Actually, I was thinking about it. A lot of the things that I played this year were actually not new games, but DLC for old games that only just came out this year. Like, for example, most of my spring was Hyrule Warriors DLC.
And more is on the way, Ted.
God, don't even get me started with Hyrule Warriors Legends, which is probably going to be one of the biggest things I play next year. We can talk about hopes for next year at the end, probably. But I played a lot of Hyrule Warriors DLC this spring with the goddamn boss pack and the Majora's Mask pack and the Twilight Princess pack, which sucks. I hate that one. But yeah, and also Smash DLC. There was a lot of Smash DLC in the spring too. With Mewtwo came out in the spring, and also
and then the three big ones like a month after.
Yeah, and we got Cloud just a couple of days ago. So It's been a good year for Nintendo DLC. I will say. Mario Kart! I forgot about that. The 200cc Mario Kart DLC came out this spring too. And
Unplayable mode.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mario Kart is not meant to go that fast. I'm just gonna say.
Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart is not meant to go at like
Uh,
5,000 miles an hour.
just so that we're all on the same page, commenters. I'm fully aware that there are probably players who are super skilled at Mario Kart and who have just like the right amount of control and skill to race at that level. I am not one of them. I don't really like that mode.
Those are called virgins, sweetie.
The thing about it is it doesn't even play like Mario Kart anymore. You have to hold the brake button, which in Mario Kart touching the brake is disgusting. And it's
You touch the brake, you're doing it wrong.
yeah, F-Zero works going that fast because the track design complements it. Mario Kart does a whole bunch of twists and turns and loops and all sorts in its tracks because it's meant to go at kind of a middling speed. That's where the track gimmicks and the items make the gameplay interesting. We really want a fast game, that's why we have F-Zero, or theoretically have F-Zero anyway.
Fast Racing Neo.
Yeah, you liked that, didn't you?
Wipeout, anyone? Wipeout? No? No one else remembers Wipeout?
I
Aw.
do.
Wipeout is F-Zero, the not F-Zero version.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, but I know that's one of the games on your list, Ryan. Fast Racing Neo.
Yep, it certainly was. For the price you're getting, it's really not that bad. It's a bit barren in content for a full game, but for $15, you're getting pretty good, especially with the online mode. But like F-Zero GX, single player is hard as balls.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I figured high adrenaline, fast paced racing games would bring a certain level of difficulty to it, and glad to see that Neo doesn't really. Why is it? Why do I want to call it F Neo?
It's close enough.
Do you think there's any hope for Nintendo bringing F-Zero back?
If that game sells well, they will.
I heard that sales have actually been really good for that.
Yeah, because Nintendo's. I don't think it's like I'm pretty sure it's an indie publisher, so I don't think Nintendo.
It's seen in games. Yeah.
So Nintendo's only getting the amount of money they get for royalties for it being sold on the eShop. So, but it will be a good like litmus test to see how much interest there is in a new game. So hopefully for the NX, we'll see
We'll
what.
have to see.
Yeah. Just going down the list of games, like I think one of my favorite games that came out in March is a game that nobody cared about when it was released, and it was Codename Steam. And it made me so sad that nobody gave a shit about Codename Steam because that game is goddamn spectacular and I love it. Nobody else here has played Codename Steam, right?
Why do the Fire Emblem characters have a Steam bar?
I'm not. My interest for Codename Steam is not so much in the product, but the genre. I don't care about RTS. So
Yeah,
it's
RTS
not an
isn't my genre.
RTS. It's a turn-based strategy game. It's totally different. Lewis, Codename Steam is based. It plays sort of like Fire Emblem, sort of. But basically, it's like a hodgepodge of a bunch of American folklore characters. So you've got John Henry, you've got Tom Sawyer, the main four characters from The Wizard of Oz, and they're all coming together to fight aliens under the command of Abraham Lincoln. So it's ridiculous, and I love it for that. But
Sounds like an indie game already.
Yeah, it's made by Intelligent Systems, so it is the people who make Fire Emblem, and it's really really intricate and interesting strategy gameplay. It's in a 3D. It's the closest comparison, even though I haven't played this game, but from what I hear, is Valkyria Chronicles, in that you control the characters from a behind the back perspective. But the biggest thing about Codename Steam is that you're never given that above view of the map that you get in so many strategy games. So you don't always know where your enemies are, which makes like getting a certain character in a position where you can see a big part of the battlefield really interesting. And The game got an update about a month after its release, where they fixed what is considered to be the biggest problem with the game, in that is that the enemy turns went on for a long time. Within a month, they had a patch which added a fast forward button. So, and you can get it really cheap nowadays. So, if you have any interest in it, I'd say pick it up. It is well worth it. It's one of my favorite games this year. Um, Probably if I had to, probably if we're just counting single player, it's probably my favorite game of the year. But my favorite game of the year is multiplayer. So yeah, but I loved Codename Steam. It's an underappreciated gem, and you should really give it a shot. So yeah, I loved that game.
Okay.
So goddamn
That sounds
good.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, the game that came out for me in March was Final Fantasy Type 0 because of the 15 demo, but
I have that on my list as well. Two after the entries I have, I'll get into those in a second. But yeah, I really enjoyed my Final Fantasy 15 demo.
I actually did try out Type 0
I have as well.
for a decent handful of hours, and it seems interesting, but at the same time, you can really tell it was a PSP game, and I don't just mean graphically, just the way that the action controls is. Well, it doesn't help that it's packaged with the Final Fantasy 15 demo, because in the Final Fantasy 15 demo, you get this interesting sense of weight and flow to the combat that Type 0 itself just doesn't have. And everything in Type 0 is kind of flat because, well, it was a PSP game. So
It goes to Final Fantasy .15.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that Type 0's place in the whole Fabula Nova Crystallis mythos is really fucking confusing. But, you know, I want to go back to it and give it another shot, but I just don't have the patience to deal with it right now. Also, the beginning is fucking depressing.
Everyone dies, the end.
Yeah, you get this really long cutscene about a guy bleeding to death on a battlefield with his dying chocobo. And then you find out about half an hour later through world lore that the crystals of this world erase the memories of dead people from everyone's minds to spare them from grief. So people aren't just dying, they're basically being erased from existence, except for whatever they leave behind in the form of a gravestone or whatever.
That's
so basically
Doesn't make any fucking sense because what's the point of a gravestone if they can't be remembered?
well,
because it's like the only way to remember that a person died in the first place.
well. How do they know to put the gravestone up if they're immediately?
Well, you find the body.
There's some sort of arrangement that goes on before a person dies that makes sure that there's some record of their existence. But
Well, they have dog
whatever
tags, yeah.
but whatever emotional attachment people had to them is just gone, and that creeped me out like nothing else.
That does sound very interesting because, like, you know, you wake up one morning and suddenly you don't have a mom or something like that. That's actually that could be like that could straight up be like a Twilight Zone episode or something. But Ryan, did you finish the game?
Yep.
How do you think it like stacked up gameplay wise then?
It's okay.
Well, that's more that could be said for Final Fantasy 13.
I didn't hate it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I enjoyed aspects of it, but it's not that.
No.
It doesn't have much depth, and it's not the most interesting thing in the
We
world.
can go more into the Final Fantasy 15 demo, but we have a commentary plan for that soonish, don't we?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Well, we should probably just save that for them.
it's sad that Square has been able to pull off this trick so many times where they get a game that they don't think will sell well to sell by plastering a demo on it. And I mean, granted, sometimes the game they end up putting that demo on is like Dragon Quest VIII, which is apparently spectacular.
Ray-
And then,
Ray
Ray
Fencer
Fencer
Musashi.
Musashi had Final Fantasy 8 demo.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so it's just but sometimes like the game just you realize that the game probably isn't going to sell well because there's not much to it. So you know that's
Yeah.
a shame. But yeah,
Well, the other thing was that Type 0 was a PSP game originally, so it was just an HD re-release of a game that we didn't actually get over here originally. But you know.
So who played Mario Party 10 this March?
I have.
How about that? How about Mario Party 10, Ron?
I mean,
I dropped it really quickly.
yes, I did as well.
Yeah, it's
You know, Me, Elliot, Mark, and Matt, we enjoyed the game for what it was worth. We liked that mini games and party games went on pretty quickly because your average Mario Party 10 board goes for like 40 minutes compared to like Mario Parties 2 or 3 especially.
No, three has so many random events that boards often go on for more than an hour.
Yeah, and depending on the board and depending on the mini games you play, it can still be a great time. Just look at our MomoCon stuff from 2014.
Oh no, yeah, it is good to have a quicker option, but with that said, the card gameplay needs to go. That is
Yes, I agree.
it is not, and I mean, granted, I know that that's the setup they have for the Wii Party games, which are apparently okay, but those are also its own thing. Mario Party, for what it's worth, had its own identity, and it stuck with the same formula for years because it worked. So
Not to mention that when you're playing a party game, there is a sense of competition that I think you can achieve when everyone is their own individual character, and you're not you're not carpooling. You know what I mean?
yeah. Bowser mode was also an immense disappointment because you play the same. There's only 10 mini games for Bowser mode, and you play them over and over and over again. So,
Yeah.
like, as fun as it is the first couple of times, it gets stale very quickly, and it's practically impossible for the person who's the Bowser player to lose. So,
Yeah.
That
It is incredibly
takes some of the
one-sided.
fun out of it, doesn't it?
yeah, I mean, granted, it's fun if you're the Bowser player, but everybody else is getting really annoyed really quickly. So, yeah, Mario Party.
It's kind of like a regular stick of spearmint gum. It tastes good for a few seconds or minutes, and then it loses its flavor pretty quickly, and then you throw it in the trash.
Yeah. So, but that was like one of the only things that came out on the Wii U this spring, so I figured it was worth a mention at the
Yeah.
very least.
I have two other games here. I have DMC Definitive Edition, which is on the PS4, and I think Steam also got it as well. And I barely experienced it. I got it because, enhanced features. I was planning on getting the DMC reboot anyway at some point after our commentary.
Yeah. I actually did want to talk somewhat about the definitive edition because I haven't had a chance to play it myself yet, but I'm interested in it because it seems to fix a lot of what I complained about. Well, except for the story. The story's still stupid. They made some edits. They made some edits. They removed the fedora from Virgil's head. So they censored his fedora.
Oh man, did they add in a neck beard instead?
No, what they did, they removed his fedora because at the time that they made it, I guess they didn't realize that hat was going to be such a joke on
These
the
social justice warriors are getting out of hand.
And they cut a few scenes a bit short for the sake of editing, but they also added a few things. Like at the end, you remember when Dante looks into the camera and then it goes black and there's a credit roll? Well, instead, he looks into the camera, then he looks away, then he walks away with Kat, and there's the scene where he puts his hand on her butt and she laughs, and then the credits roll. What? Why? What?
Because he's a playboy.
What is the point of that change?
I guess it's to show that he's still got some of his immaturity.
You know what I think? It's because when the screen goes black, it sort of has that cliffhanger feel, But since they're probably not going to make another game in this reboot series, they wanted it to feel a little less sequel baity.
I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's still on my shelf. I'm looking forward to playing it. I'm looking to play it more along the line when we get to it for SGB because Elliot wants to play it. Elliot is, I don't know, he loves the game. He thinks it's not that bad.
There's another cool thing about the definitive edition that I forgot to mention. It has an extra mode called Must Style mode, where you can't damage anything until you've gotten an S rank combo.
Damn.
Didn't DMC4 also get a better version this year?
A while ago,
I was gonna chuck that on my list of games that I got this year as well. Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition on the PlayStation 4 and Steam if you have a computer that can run it. Although I heard it has a harder time running on PCs than the old PC version, which is strange. But all right. I'm going to say this now. I love the addition of 3 new characters. What I don't so much love is the fact that when you're repeating the same areas twice as 2 characters, it's not quite as bad as when you're repeating the same areas 3
5.
times as 5 characters. No, 6 times as 5 characters. Because you got to play through the game as Nero and Dante for one straight playthrough. Then you got to play through... Well, you don't have to do them in any specific order because you can pick whoever you want from the start. But if you're going for full completion, you're doing a full Dante and Nero playthrough, a full Virgil playthrough, and a full Lady and Trish playthrough.
For stuff like that, I usually give it the game time to breathe in between
it's really great because it's really great because you've got 6 highly unique characters to play as instead of just 2 highly unique characters to play as. Did I say 6? I meant 5. I'm sorry. But at the same time, you really start to feel the lack of content in the game, and the additional story scenes that they added for the Virgil and Lady and Trish playthroughs are very bare minimum. They add a couple of slightly charming character moments to the game, but they're really, frankly, less substantial than the Virgil cutscenes in Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition, and that was just a scene in a library and a scene of Virgil cutting up some monsters. So there's not a whole lot to it in that respect, but it's good if you enjoy Devil May Cry 4, and I'm not sure if I can recommend it to people who haven't played the game yet, because frankly, it just sort of highlights the flaws the original game had a little more. So, I don't know.
Okay. I have Hotline Miami 2, wrong number, because I did play that game this year for the review as part of my Hotline Miami duology. And I don't like that game story. I don't like the visuals of Hotline Miami.
Yeah.
A large point of that, a large factor of that is the point. I get it. It's supposed to mind fuck you. It's supposed to make it feel like you're on drugs. But I think it did its job too well.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you, John. I think the Hotline Miami games are a special type of game you need to have a special type of mindset going into to really enjoy, and I don't have that special type of mindset. I really do not.
I break it down to gameplay, and it's fine. It's passable. You shoot things, they kill you more often than not.
Yeah,
and you do what you can to get by. It's fine on that regard. It's just that I think everything else that's binding it together is trippy, and not in a good trippy.
Yeah,
bad trippy.
I own the first Hotline Miami. I didn't enjoy it, but it's entirely my own preference thing. So I just did not pick up the second one.
Great soundtrack though. If I can say anything else about it, it's a really great soundtrack. I guess. Who else? I guess Ted. You haven't gone in a while.
I'm looking at different. A lot of the games I played are in the beginning of the year were puzzle games, like Box Boy and Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars. Those were both. A lot of the games I played early in the year were 3DS puzzle games because I like playing those types of games. The only one I think that's worth any sort of special mention out of all those ones that I played is Stretchmo on the 3DS, which is a sequel to the Pushmo series. Its pricing structure is strange, and in that you download the game, you got to play the tutorial levels for free, and then the game gives you the option to buy certain chunks of the different kind of modes that the game has, and you can either buy all of them for discount or buy the modes you want a la carte. So that's a little strange, and it's a little bit off-putting for people like that. But that was, I think, one of the best puzzle games I played in a really long time, just because you can all of the boards are shaped like pictures of stuff or just arrangements of blocks in certain challenge levels, and you can not only push in and pull out the blocks, but you can also stretch them in order to make them bigger. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that game. So if you want a 3DS puzzle game that's relatively cheap and you can make it cheaper if you want, I would go with that one. I played that one a lot. But really, I didn't play an awful lot in the beginning of the year other than Codename Steam up until the time when Splatoon came out, which proceeded to take over.
Shall we move on to Splatoon?
I do have the game on my list. I got a few more though, because my list is pretty big.
Yeah, well, you also review games for a living, so I'm not too
Yeah,
surprised.
because my next one on my list is Axiom Verge, the not Metroid, created
Yeah.
by one guy, and I love the attempt. I think it's a solid game. I think visually it's a bit of a bore, because I don't think the environments do a good enough job to stick out. I can't immediately identify Area 1 from Area 2 without reaching a set piece, and I think that's a problem that the original Metroid actually had. So if anything, it's mimicking its formula too well.
Yeah, I can sort of see it.
I like the weapon system and I like the boss fight. It's a story I care less about, but it's a solid game for. I think it may still be $20 at this point.
Steam sale.
Yeah,
you might
it's
not want to
currently on
touch the Steam store right now if that issue is still going on.
Well, at the
Actually,
time of this upload, it may be fixed at this point.
yeah.
Steam's been
Axiom,
working fine for me.
yeah,
since
yeah,
yesterday.
and it has been working fine for me as well. So, but yeah, I understand you don't want to chance it. It's currently $14 right now on Steam.
That still seems a bit pricey. Personally,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's better than 20, I guess.
Yeah,
and
but
I think it's a solid. I do think it's a good game. It's just I think there are better Metroidvanias out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess the next one is Mortal Kombat X for me.
Oh, you mean horror franchise, The Fighter?
Yeah.
Didn't they just
Warner
put
Brothers
Leatherface
Horror
in it? Too.
They put Leatherface. They put the Xenomorph.
Jason.
Well, Baraka Xenomorph. Jason and am I missing anybody? I know I'm missing someone from that lineup.
I know Freddy's not in it.
No, Freddy
was the
last
previous game, yeah.
I've heard Mortal Kombat X is good, but at the same time, I don't care as much about Mortal Kombat. So
I've never had any interest in Mortal Kombat personally.
I mean, it's always been for me kind of a stiff fighter, and I know from experience with Injustice that that's not exactly the case anymore. But the main draw
X
of
definitely draws more from Injustice than it does from the Mortal Kombat series, which
Yeah.
I know sounds weird because Injustice is heavily based off Mortal Kombat, but everything they retooled in Injustice, they transferred over to Mortal Kombat X.
It's kind of like what Bethesda did with the Fallout series. When they made Fallout 3, they experimented with a lot of stuff, and quite a lot of that stuff transferred into Skyrim when they made that afterward. But the thing is, the main draw of Mortal Kombat is, the over-the-top, gory finisher moves and the blood, and that never really. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just not really all that interested.
To me,
Rather
mechanically, I still think Mortal Kombat 9, the 2011 game, is still better. 10 looks great, feels great. Everything's very gruesome. That's part of the reason why you get Mortal Kombat X is because of all the high over-the-top gore. And in that regard, X does its job well.
and hey, if you're bad at fatalities, you can buy them. So
Yeah, you can buy fatality tokens and completely
Oh,
purchase the crypt
God.
on Moss. And Jesus, Warner Brother publishes some fantastic titles, but they are the fucking worst with DLC. They are
I'm sure
fucking
once we get to
DLC.
fall games, we're going to be talking more about
yes,
that.
we are.
Sad day when console games are being treated like fucking Facebook games.
Well, there's another summer one that they published that I played a lot of, Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh well, no, I thought that was
that was.
Ark-
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. The only other 3 games I had before Splatoon are just like revisits that I've experienced. Shovel Knight came out on the PS4 this year.
we could talk about.
That came out last year.
Yeah, but we could talk
Yeah, it
about
came out
Plague of
last year, but
Shadows. Came out.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
year.
Plague of Shadows came out this year though.
That was a great update. And I love the fact that it's still free. I don't know if they're ever gonna release paid DLC for Shovel Knight ever, and we've still got 2 more campaigns coming, and that's gonna be awesome.
2 more campaigns and gender bender mode.
Yeah. But yeah.
Which,
Man.
by the way, is there any update on any of those? Because you're finally done porting it to everything under the sun. Can you work on those now?
I understand them doing. They have to do stuff that will get them money because all these updates are free.
I understand that. It's just one of those. It's kind of, aside from Plague of Shadows, everything's kind of fallen off the map.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm guessing that now that the Amiibo's out, they're working on the next playable mode. but we'll see what happens. I like Plague of Shadows a lot. Plague Knight is a lot of fun to play as. I thought the story was really, really not, cute in Plague of Shadows, like with him like having a crush on Mona, and all that. But I still think that Shovel Knight himself is a more fun character to play as than Plague Knight, because Plague Knight
Yes.
is I get that he's tricky to control on purpose, and it is a lot of fun once you get good at him to like fly through areas really, really quickly. But it is Shovel Knight is just so easy to pick up and play his normal play style that when you there's such a learning curve to Plague Knight, it's a little bit off-putting.
Jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, so like I'm if I see myself playing Shovel Knight again, I'm probably going to be playing Shovel Knight mode and not Plague Knight mode. Is basically just my point.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same boat as Ted.
Yeah.
Same here.
Like, but it's so awesome that it's free.
Yeah, like that's something that you'd pay like $10 for in another game. So, because there's like a ton of new areas and stuff like that. So, I'm happy that it's like that.
The only other two I have here are the Steam release of Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, which still same game, so nothing else much I can say about that. And Final Fantasy X 10-2 HD remaster.
Oh,
Why is that the one
PS4.
Final Fantasy that's on everything?
you mean aside from Final Fantasy IV?
To be fair, with the international stuff added in, particularly the Sphere Grid, it is quite a bit more interesting to play the original. And Final Fantasy X-2 was never bad on a gameplay standpoint.
No.
The writing and acting and music were just kind of...
It was everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still recommend those as RPGs, so that's much as I could say about that. Okay, now we can go to Splatoon.
Splatoon is probably my game of the year. If I had to,
Splatoon is love. Splatoon is life.
Splatoon is. I love like first off, I was in love with the game even when it first came out, and the content was relatively minimal. The new controls were the way the game controlled was very interesting. The story mode was fun and unique and all of that. And right around the time the novelty starts to wear off, they start adding more and more new stuff, and it's all for free. There was like a new map every month, a new weapon every week, Splatfests every few weeks or so. I think that is the perfect way to do a game like that, because it kept attention up all throughout the summer and through a decent amount of the fall. So Splatoon, I think it was. I love what Nintendo does when they try to be creative. It is not like nothing else you will ever play, and I love games that try to do stuff like that, and it was just so much fun to play. All because that was the only thing I played all summer was Splatoon and Hyrule Warriors grinding. So it was we have a whole playthrough on Splatoon. You can go back and watch, and I love that game so much. It's easily my favorite game of the year. So
And
You're just glad you finally found a multiplayer game that can beat us in.
as long as I have, I've got one, and I'm gonna be happy with that. So
Yeah.
just take the one you can.
you guys can keep Smash Brothers. All right. Interesting fun fact: Splatoon in Japan has sold more copies than Mario Kart 8 and Smash Brothers Wii U.
Huh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
I'm probably like super odd man out here, but Splatoon, I gave it a try, and it just turned out not to be my kind of game, so I traded it back in. You win some, you lose some.
Not every game is for every person,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm not holding it against the game. It's its own thing, and sometimes that's not going to be my thing. But
yeah.
I'm not one of those really immature internet peoples who seems to find it an offense that other people like what I don't.
I have an entire review on the game on my main channel. You guys could find what I think about it there. I think I don't have a similar praise to how Ted claims it, but I still think it's a solid game throughout. Definitely family friendly, good for all ages, and I do agree that the Nintendo's marketing strategy with the game has been phenomenal, because the game, even after It hasn't even been a year old at this point, and it's still going really strong.
There's still 2 more maps at this point. There's still 2 more maps to go, and that's assuming that they're going to be ending support for it this winter. So
yeah.
Well, it's basically the main thing of note for the Wii U this year.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Probably for the entire console, I would argue.
That's
yeah. Up until this month, anyway.
Well, Smash Brothers, we already touched on Smash Brothers.
I was
DLC.
talking
Smash
about
Smash
Smash.
came out technically came out last year. We just got DLC.
Oh,
this
you're
year,
talking
so
about
it doesn't count.
Xenoblade. Okay, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jesus
motherfucker.
Fucking Christ.
Well, that's towards the end of the year. We can get there when we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, next on my list is actually Batman Arkham Knight, and
We never did an impressions video on that game, I realize.
no.
So here you go.
No.
I enjoyed it, but
Is Batman Arkham Knight after May?
it's in June.
It's in June.
Okay, well, I do have one May title to bring attention to. Very short. I haven't really had time to delve into this, but around May of this year, a Brazilian indie developer released a game called Torrent on Steam, which I quite enjoyed what I've played of. It kind of gives me the same sort of feel that I got from Ico, so that's an interesting thing. And I recommend people check into that, see if it's your thing. There we go. Okay, Batman Arkham Knight, go ahead.
It's good, but
It's good.
Yeah,
that
and
goddamn Batman.
that's a big fucking butt.
Oh man, at first
Got Sir Mix-a-Lot turning his head around for that one.
At first, I liked the Batmobile. It controls well. The combat was kind of fun. Then I realized
you never
how much
stopped doing
combat-
it.
Yeah, and you know what?
Great. When do I get out?
Part of the reason that I was so charitable toward Arkham Knight as I was because I didn't play the main game to start out. I actually started out with one of the DLCs, namely the Batgirl one, which was nothing but standard Arkham gameplay, back to front. So I was in a pretty good mood by the time I got to the main campaign, and then the monotony started to set in.
John, I know you thought Origins was better than Arkham Knight. Ryan, would you agree with that statement? Because I know you were very on Origins, so...
Just in terms of gameplay, yeah, I think Origin is ultimately better.
You know what? I would almost agree with that if it weren't for Origin's fucking counterattack system. It doesn't let you cancel out of an attack to counter like, every other fucking Arkham game in the series. I can never get myself into the flow of Origin combat. I just can't. It doesn't happen. Because
It is definitely tougher to get into with Origins. No, but I still think Arkham Knight is the... Because Arkham Knight assumes you played every other game.
Yeah, it's basically like a really hard mode of City.
Yeah, but I never felt like when I was playing Arkham Knight that my screw-ups in combat were a result of the combat itself being too restricting. I could always hit the counter button while I was in the middle of an animation and have Batman do the smart thing, stop what he's doing, and counter the fucking attack. If I happened to punch like a nanosecond before a counterattack icon popped up in Origin, well, I was just fucking screwed, wasn't I?
I totally called Jason Todd.
But the Joker's the real bad guy of Arkham Knight, though. And I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
kind of.
I was honestly shocked that they didn't just straight up bring Joker back from the dead. But I'm still actually impressed that they managed to make Joker the main villain of Arkham Knight without bringing him back from the dead.
Well, don't you know?
Takes a certain amount of skill.
He was basically, running around the game going, "I am the Shadow. I am your true self," the whole time. It was
You're not me.
Yeah, it worked, but at the same time, you just sort of you'd had enough of the Joker by that
God
point,
damn
so...
it, again.
Yeah, it was exasperating, but at the same time, it was still pretty good. So I'm torn. I honestly am, because it's the Joker, and it was used in a pretty awesome way, and the performance was stellar as always. Mark Hamill, genius that he is.
It's the year of Mark Hamill, isn't it? We have him returning from Arkham.
In my head, I'm thinking, why are we here again? Why again? Does it have to be the focus again? It doesn't help. It doesn't help that the actual titular villain of the game was so underwhelming, especially compared to the Joker. On the plus side, the Arkham Knight gave us someone to compare Kylo Ren to that makes Kylo Ren look pretty good. So, I don't know.
I guess so. But I also think Arkham Knight just post game is, ugh. Like there is like nothing.
100% the game, so you can get the best ending, which
the
doesn't
true
do anything.
Nightfall Protocol, which is an additional 6 seconds.
What is that?
Oh, it's Batman's plan for when he gets outed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nightfall Protocol is Batman's plan. Whatever happens if Batman can no longer protect Gotham, it's this and that, whatever. It's just the things you do to unlock that true ending are just so fucking tedious.
Do you have to get all the Riddler stuff?
Yep.
It's worse. Like it's like they've taken the Riddler side quests and accentuated it to a ridiculous degree, and it was the first time in an Arkham game where I said, "No, I don't feel like doing this anymore."
Yep, that was the same for me. I got about halfway through and said, "Fuck it, I don't care."
It was always the Riddler stuff I got that from, starting with Arkham City. But Arkham Knight was the first where I said that for every other side quest in the game. Destroy a certain amount of bombs on the floor.
I don't
destroy
care.
These watchtowers, destroy these checkpoints. It's like,
Yeah.
I do not fucking care.
Unfortunately, Batman Arkham Knight is not... from Arkham City onward, well, not so much Arkham City, but you can see the trend in the Arkham series from City to Origins to Knight, where it's, the gaming industries and the gaming audience's fetish with open world games where you do a lot of shit. It just sort of fans out as the series progresses, and I feel like it never struck an entirely perfect balance, and instead of trying to strike a perfect balance, it just kept trying to get bigger.
Yeah, Arkham Asylum may not be as big as City, Origins, or Knight, but it's hella focused. And
Yeah, I think City does the best job of being open while also focused.
But I still argue Arkham Asylum is just a good of a game because of how tight it is.
I can understand that. So how about that PC version?
What about that season pass that's almost as expensive as the game itself?
Well, to be fair, there's a lot of DLC attached to that season pass, so I don't really mind that.
Not all of it's good.
Not all of it's good, yeah, but
I mean, let's take a look at it. We got the Harley Quinn, which lasts 20 minutes.
How much is that on its own? I just want to know.
I don't fucking know.
Okay.
Because then there's the Batgirl stuff, which is a little longer by an hour. Then it's over.
A little longer by like twice as much.
And then there's the Jason Todd stuff, which is about 20 minutes.
No one likes Jason Todd.
And I'm guessing that there's just like costumes and stuff for the rest of it.
There's the costumes. There's the Batmobile skins. I'll defend the 1989 Batman Tim Burton costume. Fucking love it. Kind of bullshit that the Batmobile doesn't have battle mode on it though, so you can only use it to race shit.
But like $50 for like.
Oh, I agree.
$50 for, let's say, 4 extra hours of gameplay and costumes seems like a ripoff to me personally.
Yeah.
I love the games that WB publish. I especially love Rocksteady, but they are the fucking worst with DLC.
Yeah. The Batgirl DLC I will defend as being worth its price tag, though.
Is Batgirl not paralyzed in Arkham anymore? Because I thought that
it's a prequel. It's a prequel story.
It's a prequel story. Yeah, it goes back to it's supposed to be related to the Killing Joke, but only insofar as it happens in the park, and her father gets kidnapped, and she goes in to rescue. But it's not actually the Killing Joke. It doesn't tell the story of how she got paralyzed, it's basically It's like it takes an element of the Killing Joke, rips it out of the Killing Joke's bloody chest, and makes it its own story, and makes it star the Batgirl.
Well, Killing Joke was always weird to me because Batgirl's in that
Batgirl was put into a refrigerator for no reason. For no reason other than
I get that reference.
because
Batgirl shows
Yeah.
up 2/3 of the way through the Killing Joke just to get paralyzed. And okay,
Yeah.
so it's just I was just confused about that because I knew that the first Arkham game came out before the New 52 reboot where Batgirl went back to her pre-Killing Joke status. So I wasn't sure
No,
how
she
they.
Well, no,
did-
Killing Joke still
No,
happened.
what
She just got
actually
better.
happened is she had a miracle surgery.
Oh,
Yeah, it was really lazy.
Nanomachines, son.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm glad she's back on her feet because I'm glad she's back on her feet because the current Batgirl series is something really great.
I've heard good things about it. Yes.
But the execution of getting her, it's like it would have honestly been better if they just taken that out of canon. It doesn't need to be there. It sort of felt like a cop out because they were afraid of not including it because it's such a beloved story. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but I was just
now we're
wondering.
getting off the subject.
I was just wondering how they handled it because I know that Arkham is technically non-canon, but whatever. But
how about
anyway,
that
Arkham Knight
too?
is still. I'll just cap off. Arkham Knight is still a good game, but it's not the great game it could have been.
Yeah. So, John, how about that 240% completion bonus?
How about not?
what do you get for 240% completion?
The bat emblem on your suit becomes gold.
Yeah, no.
Wait, how do you have to do 2 playthroughs?
Yep. You have to 100% the main playthrough and 100% the extra playthrough.
That's almost as good as a postcard.
Oh God.
Show that off for the playthrough, John.
Okay.
So did anything else come out during the summer that is of note?
One thing I played, technically the version you played came out last year, but J-Star's Victory Versus got an English version.
I have that on my list too. I think we bring that up because of our Momocon playthrough.
Animu
They got an English
Fighters.
version.
I still love going to the comment section of those videos to see how many fucking weeaboos we pissed off.
Oh,
Yep.
nobody
Why
knew,
didn't you choose anyone besides Goku and Luffy?
because they were the only ones who we knew who they were. I picked Bobobo, so you know.
Yeah.
I think I picked Kenshin.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think
Like
one.
the Japanese guy.
I think
The side
Garrett
of
chose
Yu Yu
Arale,
Hakusho.
but
Yeah, so basically the only reason why why you only saw Goku and Luffy in those parts was because the only people who kept on winning were the people who played as Goku and Luffy. So you know,
Not my problem.
yeah. So should we try again with the English version next year, or no?
we'll think about it.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
It would be great
But-
if we got back together and the first thing we did with Gareth was like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing? Look at this
Got it
control."
warmed up for you.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, there's another kind of it's kind of ties into another game we did at MomoCon that also got an English release, but there's another kind of crossover fighter being made for like visual novel characters by the certain company, and so the first thing I did was I tweeted Gareth, "More anime fighters for you."
What games are in that visual novel?
I only recognize 2 characters: Saber from Fate Stay Night
Goku
and
and Luffy.
Saber from Fate Stay Night and Saya from Song of Saya, which.
I tell you this, they'd better include someone from Danganronpa. Otherwise, no one's gonna
I don't think
care.
that's the same company.
Oh, well then no one's gonna care.
Danganronpa, as far as I hear, is the only reason why most people care about the Vita in the first place. So you know.
That and Persona 4 Golden, yeah.
Yeah, but you can play
Well,
Persona 4 on your PlayStation
yeah,
2 already.
But you know, I think you can actually play Danganronpa on the PS3 now.
Oh.
Yeah, you can.
well,
So-
then
but-
in that case, no reason to get a Vita. Then now is there?
Yeah, but speaking of translated anime games we played at MomoCon, the other one that got released was Dengenki Bunko Fighting Climax.
Oh, that was the other one we played. The one with
Yeah,
that was
that
a
was full of
2D
anime
brawler.
girls, yeah.
Which I had more interest in as a fighting game because mechanically I thought it was pretty solid.
Yeah, mechanically it felt like an Arc System Works game. So
Yes.
yeah, that makes it easy to get into.
Yeah, whereas the Jump Victory All Stars was this weird 3D beat 'em up that didn't control great. So, you know,
Well, I can see it. I can see it being fun to play if you have time to get into it. The problem is we played it raw, like except for Ryan,
Like
who
super
knew what he
raw,
was
out of our
doing.
country raw.
like we didn't
So
like people were being like, why didn't you do this move? The game's in Japanese, guys. We don't.
I'm trying real hard to play this
We
game,
never played
but
the game before, you fucking moron.
yeah, it's like people have forgotten what it was like to be playing Street Fighter 2 on our Sega Genesis on our couch with no strategy guide or move
Yeah.
list.
Like when you play
Like-
the game for the first time, if you're uploading it on the internet, you need to be a perfect player.
Yeah, but back then you were lucky if you knew how to do the Hadouken at all.
Oh, you guys probably would have cringed so hard when I first tried to play Street Fighter on the Wii Virtual Console. I didn't know how to do anything. It was like
Yep. Neither did I. The only thing I knew how to do was jump kick.
yeah, and it's like and when I was playing Ultimate Marvel like 2 years ago, you guys were laughing at me for not knowing how to block, and I was like, okay, guys, I'm sorry. So yeah.
I have one game here. I don't know if anyone else played this. I showed Ted a bit of it when I was over for PAX, but Sonic Runners, the mobile Sonic game.
Oh, Sonic Runners.
It's not a bad game.
It's-
It's just plagued with so many fucking ads and freemium
That's
Yeah.
design choices.
I mean,
Sonic has
granted,
to work his way into every video we do.
I know that they changed this like within days, but the fact that they even thought about putting like a line of spikes that you just can't get past disgusts me. Like,
Yeah.
come on, seriously.
And I agree, because they kind of puts a damper on the whole endless runner meaning of the genre. That was something that only happened during Phase 6 of the stage. Phase 6 is pretty much the final stretch where you're going so fucking fast that you need to have lightning fast reflexes and complete memorization of the obstacles thrown at you. It's not something that happens in like the first 5 minutes of the stage.
I understand that, but still,
Yeah, I just want to mention that because people were quick to misconstrue that as something that can happen at any time, which is not the fact.
I understand that. I know that it's not something
Yeah.
that you would, but no, I think that it's almost even worse that they just put that in there, because if you're doing so well that you can keep up with stuff going at Turbo Mach 20, and they just put an unpassable line of spikes, that's basically a middle finger to what is essentially your biggest audience at that point, because the people who are that good at the game are probably the people who are buying red rings to go to the slot machine to get playable Shadow or Amy or Big
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yes.
And the fact that you have to win them in the extra characters in a slot machine for only a limited amount of time still seems gross to me. I mean, I know
Reminds
that.
me of All the Bravest.
Oh God, all the bravest.
Nothing will ever be that.
Plus a dollar,
Speaking
plus a
of,
dollar, plus a dollar.
Speaking of mobile games, though, I recently discovered one. I'm not sure when it came out. Adventure Bar Story, an RPG about the owner of a bar. It's it sounds a bit lame, but it's actually quite interesting. Kind of has an Atelier game feeling going for it, like where you're going out adventuring, collecting ingredients, and trying to cook things.
I know that an Atelier game came out early this year, but I haven't played it. I haven't touched an Atelier game yet. Talking about backlogs. You know what? I think we should probably just mention anything significant we played on our backlog this year. Because for me, something that I played very recently, with the Smash Brothers announcement, I went back and I played through Bayonetta again. I had only played when Bayonetta 2 came out. I had only played like 2 hours. So I said with that announcement, okay, I'm gonna go through and play Bayonetta 1. And so I played through it to the end and I beat it. And it is a good game, but I had a lot of issues with it. Like not just the cutscenes, but the fact that there's so much stuff in that game that you're not going to get until you play through the stages 4, 5, 6 times. Like for example, there are hidden enemies that you have to go and find, but there's invisible walls all over the place, so you don't know what is supposed to be like gone through and what you can't go through. And also, I hate the fact that cutscenes will end with an enemy attacking you and you have no time to dodge it. That's to me
And then you get sucker punched. the QuickTime events also sucker punch you with deaths that screw up your rankings the first time you play, and quite a few of these secret mission locations that you can find along your first playthrough are pretty much undoable unless you have upgrades that you get later.
Oh yeah, in the tower level at the very end, there was a pair of the two pair of angels that always stick together. You beat up a statue to find them, and these angels you cannot activate witch time when you fight them. And I died on those guys like 7 or 8 times until I decided, okay, screw my ranking, I'm just gonna walk past them. So yeah, it's a good. I think Bayonetta 2 will probably be much better, so I'll play through that eventually.
I think you will enjoy the second one a lot more.
Probably,
Yeah,
yes.
Bayonetta 2 makes the exploration element less of a pain in a lot of ways. Like, for one thing, the secret missions that I did find were totally doable when I got to them.
Yeah, I was able to do all of them.
Yeah, and whereas Bayonetta 1 has that kind of the same problem Devil May Cry 3 has with its secret missions, in that a lot of them are like a major headache to complete if you come at them during your first playthrough at the level that you're expected to be during that mission.
But I'm trying to think of anything else I played during my backlog. That was the biggest one that I finished at the very least. I played a couple of smaller things. Was there anything significant you guys managed to knock off this year?
Xenoblade 1.
Man. Did you manage to beat it, Lewis? Or
As of now, no. I marathoned it for like a week, and but I was insisting on being fairly thorough about it too. But I really, really, really enjoyed that game, and in some ways I prefer it to Xenoblade X. But I still need to go back and beat it properly, and I'll probably start over from the beginning because I actually missed something that I can't go back and complete, a surprise quest that is now expired, and I can't actually do it anymore, and that bothers me. But yeah, it's a great game, and why the fuck have they not released the Wii version on the eShop yet?
They have in
it
Europe.
out in Europe.
Xenoblade 3D. I'm gonna bet any amount of money it's that.
They're trying to give it some time to sell, but still.
Why?
Most of the old stuff I played this year was
version, so I don't care. But go ahead.
Most of the stuff I played that was older this year was stuff I recorded for the channel, so not much to say for me on that part.
So you didn't rediscover anything this year?
Not particularly. I mean,
okay.
I did a lot of research on the games I did, so that took up a lot of my time.
Okay. And John, you're playing old games all the time for reviews and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd be here all day if I wanted to know. That's what my channel's for. I have a few other games listed here for like repeat visits. Skullgirls, the second version of it, second encore came out
Yes.
this year, so I recommend that game. Again, I have a review on that.
Oh, the I forget the name of the studio, but they got Indivisible funded.
Yeah, successfully funded.
Yeah,
Congratulations to them.
Yeah, it wasn't
Lab Zero games.
Lab Zero. Yeah, it wasn't quite a sure thing at a lot of points because they were asking for a lot of money, and I think people were very hesitant for some reason. It looks like a solid game though. I never played the demo that they released though.
The demo was fine for what if you ever played Valkyrie Profile, you know exactly what you're getting into. Okay, well then the only thing I can tell you is that it's a pretty solid game.
Okay.
Unfortunately, people are getting fairly jaded about crowdfunding project for decent reason. Like Mighty Number 9 has been handled extremely poorly, and although it's on the way,
it comes out in February, I believe.
Yeah, but then there's also the Oya, that debacle of an Android console.
That basically flopped, as far as I can tell.
It didn't just basically flop. It's been discontinued by the people who own it now, and they're working on some new, better console. But geez,
the Booyah.
Yeah, there was there was also a lot of backlash against Psychonauts 2 when that because
but that's because Tim Schafer has a bit of a reputation for not working out when it comes to crowdfunding, to put it generously.
Did Broken Age not end up working out, or was it or Because I know that was their big. That was the big game, crowdfunding game until Mighty Number 9.
I haven't followed Tim Schafer on as far as his crowdfunded stuff goes, Double Fine, but I've heard some rumors about not so honorable practices. So
that's a shame.
Before any of you in the audience fund that game, I recommend you research said things and make an informed decision.
That's always been my stance with crowdfunding, though. Like, I've been doing that way back since Shovel Knight. So,
now that we're on the subject of crowdfunding, I completely forgot to mention this game, but it's currently in beta. It's a crowdfunded game, Kickstarter game. A Hat in Time.
Oh yeah, is that out yet or
No, but I do have the beta release because I backed it. I made sure to get two copies for myself and my girlfriend, and it's a really fun game, really flowful. Gives you that patented Banjo-Kazooie / Super Mario Sunshine feel without the negatives that come with Super Mario Sunshine.
that was something I always had a slight interest in, but I never really made an effort to look into it deeply. So
the other thing to mention is that the beta release is actually quite meaty, so there's a lot there to get excited for, and I recommend people give that game a look. It's not on Kickstarter anymore, but it can still be pre-ordered / crowdfunded on its own website, I believe.
A lot of crowdfunding games do have like a PayPal link that continues after the game is done. But next year a lot of crowdfunded games do come out. Half Genie Hero should come out next year.
My number 9 should come out next year.
So we'll see how that works out. I'm looking at other games. The next game I have on my list that I played was Super Mario Maker. So is there anything else
that comes out before that? Yeah.
What was that?
Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, # fuck Konami.
Oh god, I haven't had a chance to play that, but I've heard some great things, some good things, some disappointing things.
The only thing I've heard about that game is quiet.
It just seems like the entire game was kind of a troubled development story. But you know what?
Yeah, the game's only about halfway full. Sorry. Go on.
On the subject of quiet, I would have had absolutely no fucking problem with her if Kojima hadn't gone on his "you're going to be so ashamed for criticizing me when you find out why she dresses like this." They just made up a disease as an excuse for making a fan service character that they could have squishy boob action figures for. If you're going to do that, just make it a goddamn fan service character. Otherwise, write the character well like you did with Eva back in 3. Don't half-ass it and then tell me or anyone else that we're wrong for criticizing you. Just either go whole hog, go full retard, or do a good character. Don't fucking okay. Whatever. I'm done.
I'm gonna go more into detail with the Phantom Pain when I get to it for my marathon. But from the get-go, unfortunately, Metal Gear Solid 5 is a victim of whatever happened between Kojima and Konami this past year.
Because there's so much in there that could have been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
The game ultimately suffers from it, and it's a damn shame. And it almost brings a tear to my eye that this is how we cap off the Metal Gear series.
No, I think that I did see things on Konami's website, like asking.
It's for a pachinko machine, I assure you.
Yeah.
It's just sad that
Konami
2015 is the year Konami fell apart. Because, say what you will about their big business practices, they did make some great games. And I mean, granted, like bringing up crowdfunding again, Bloodstain's probably going to be a great game too, but it's also going to be a not Castlevania. So,
Well, now that Kojima's away from Konami, I fully expect to see the crowdfunded Kickstarter for Liquid Wooden Gear, whatever.
Kojima may get in contact with David Hayter to continue that one game he's working on right now, or that it's currently episodic. Let me see if I can find the name of it again.
The
Republic.
I kind of expect actually Kojima to probably shift towards something that's not Metal Gear, though. Maybe like there was a canceled game, and what's the name of that series with the mechs, the robots?
Zone of Enders.
Zone of the Enders.
Zone of
Zone
the
of
Enders. Yeah, I kind of expect something in that vein because they had a canceled project for that.
Yeah,
Loads of ideas and stuff.
the running. I know this has happened a lot. But the running theme with the not blanks that you see on Kickstarter, with Mighty Number 9 as the not Mega Man, Ukulele as the not Banjo Kazooie, Bloodstained as the not Castlevania. These are types of games that the developers wanted to make, but publishers said there's no demand for. So there's obviously a demand for Metal Gear Solid because Metal Gear Solid 5 just came out. So I would say, I wouldn't be surprised if Kojima does a not Metal Gear Solid, but I would say it's more likely that he would start something more unique, if anything. So
Well, he said he was
fresh,
still open.
because-
He said he was still open to working with Guillermo, so maybe we'll have quiet inclines.
Quiet inclines. Oh man, it's funny though because the title Silent Hills is actually a pun on I think a Japanese city that literally means quiet hills. So yeah, well, that's a thing.
PT was just this year. Did you guys actually play that, or
By the time I even knew what that was, it had already been taken off the PS4 store.
PT was last year.
Oh, okay, sorry,
Yeah,
my bad.
yeah. It's off the store now because they canceled Silent Hills, and it was basically a glorified demo for that.
Yeah, can't even download it anymore. So
yeah, if you want to play the game, it was PS4 exclusive. So if you want to play it, you basically have to shell out for a console that has it on.
yeah,
Ugh.
find me on
And that's
Craigslist.
that's unfortunate because it looks so amazing for a game that literally consists of the same hallway repeated with different bells and whistles every time.
But damn, is it interesting?
But John, did it do better than The Park?
Yes. Oh yeah, I guess I could put that in my list, can I?
What?
Yeah, I completely forgot about that fucking game. I played a game called The Park for
An indie horror
for
quote
Halloween.
unquote game.
It was an indie horror game, and it was what the fuck is this shit?
Hansel.
I got a code for it actually. My partner manager Paul is a great guy. He gave me a Steam code for it to give the game a look see.
Why do you do this to me?
Because he offers a few games every once in a while. Because some publishers give me Steam codes to give their game some spotlight, and it's kind of the reason why I started that whole Spotlight series. To give those games some attention. And I figured, you know what? Halloween's almost here. I'll wait until Halloween and I'll do a live stream of it. So I'm playing the game for the first time with Elliot, and we're both like, what the fuck is this?
Hansel.
Oh man. Oh geez. Is it bad
no.
that when you said The Park, the first thing I thought of was that god awful Alone in the Dark game?
I don't have your stone, and fuck you anyway. The music in that game is actually really, really good.
Yeah, it's everything else that's terrible.
Did you? Was there anything else that came out this summer? At all?
Not that I can think of.
Not so much for this summer. I mean, the other things I have on my list besides the other big game, which is coinciding with Ted. I mean, I have the with the Wii U release of Freedom Planet.
I still have to play that.
On that note, hyped to see the sequel announced.
Oh yeah, that was
Hooray.
announced like a couple days ago.
Yesterday actually.
Yeah.
And
It's announced yesterday.
And the beta.
And the beta is live now for Steam users.
Yeah, I would recommend being careful with that because Endless End, the guy who gave us our copies, told me that there's currently a glitch in the beta that screws with your achievement progression. I think it causes. Okay. I think it gets you locked on the achievement get screen. So that's
it's almost like it's a beta.
Yeah, I know. It's just consume responsibly.
Apparently there was a.
What's a fucking alcohol?
Well, it's actually not too surprising that I hear that because the Wii U version of Freedom Planet was supposed to come out like a month before it actually did. Like reviewers had copies, but there was some sort of issue where the game would freeze and the only way to fix it was to hard reset your Wii U, and it wasn't picked up during previews. So the developer halted the release, fixed it, and then re-released it. And I do have to say props for him for for doing that at the last minute, even if it did mean a delay. Because it's better to delay the game without it to not have a game-breaking bug in there. So, But
Yeah,
Freedom
yeah,
Planet
or-
is a game that I will try eventually. I've just have not been in the mood for a 2D Sonic kind of game lately. So, yeah.
I still wholeheartedly recommend it. The Wii U version to me is just fine. It's still the Freedom Planet I know and love. Though you're not missing anything by, ignoring the Wii U version. If you just got it on Steam, there's no reason for you to double dip.
It's just
Unless
it's a straight port.
Yeah, it's a straight port, and I still prefer. I don't. For some reason, Freedom Planet on the Wii U, its native resolution has black borders all around the screen, and I don't get that.
That's actually something that I've noticed with every Wii U game I've ever recorded. There's black borders around the
There's
screen.
black borders
all
for
the fucking time.
it's specifically on the Wii U, on the Wii mode on the Wii U.
Yes.
There's always black borders.
Also,
Some
no,
virtual
it's
console
al-
games.
No, it's also on the regular Wii U stuff. I've had to crop every single part of Xenoblade X that I've recorded so far.
I don't
never
get
had
it
the crop.
on-
I never had the crop smash. Yeah, I don't get it on like first party Wii U games like Mario Kart 8, Smash 4, Splatoon.
Yeah, it depends on the game. It's weird. Maybe it's a settings thing. I'm not sure, but I do know that Ryan had I had to crop Ryan's Super Mario Maker footage when we did that Shenanigans video, but mine I didn't. So that was weird. So
Bizarre.
Get your game on, Ryan.
Huh.
yeah. So
Speaking of Mario Maker,
I gotta say, I love the title theme for Mario Maker, and the Smash Brothers remix is phenomenal. So I'm gonna.
I cannot stop fucking listening to the Underground remix of the Mario 1 stage builder theme.
Yeah,
It is so fucking sexy to my ears.
that's the one with
Fucking
like
my ears
the
right now.
the saxophone in it, right?
The saxophone, yeah, damn right. Like I make stages in that theme, and then I switch over to the theme I'm actually making the stage for.
I do really like.
Until it's over.
I really do like the new music for the Super Mario Brothers 1 airship. That's also really good too. But Mario Maker, I loved it when I did play it, but I put it down pretty quickly. Like within 2 or 3 weeks, I was basically done.
I still enjoy popping it in to just play a few levels now and again, but that's all it's good for me now.
I want to start doing more live streams with it. Down the road. I agree. I did put it down. I haven't really touched the game since checkpoints were implemented, actually.
Yeah, for some reason the new updates have not grabbed me as much as the updates for Splatoon. Maybe it's because it's not as frequent, but they've added stuff that we've really needed, like checkpoints, but they still have ignored slopes, which I believe is like everybody's number 2 on their list after checkpoints. So, but
Yeah. I mean, it's good to see it has been getting attention. I mean, it's still under Nintendo's radar for the time being, but I'm on the same boat. I'm waiting for like some sort of major update to consider going back to it. And again, I just need the time to do it because with Mario Maker, yeah, I get a kick out of playing everyone's creations, but when I'm going to Mario Maker, I also want to make my own stuff. But that shit takes time, and I don't have it in me as of now to do that sort of thing.
you want to know what to me is the biggest disappointment about Mario Maker is that playing singular levels is great, but it also really gave me an appetite for a full adventure, like a full start to finish adventure, which is another thing I did earlier this year was I finally played through all of New Super Mario Bros. U, which is good. But yeah, it's like I'll play if I play a really good traditional style level in Mario Maker, I'm like that's great, and then it's just kind of it's done. Like it kind of leaves me hanging in a lot of ways. So it's a interesting game, and I'm sure that the people who are into Mario Maker, that's a game that they could play forever, and that's awesome. But I also want to see. I don't want to see a new 2D Mario game, granted, but it's more than anything, it's made me want to like replay old Mario games, if that makes sense. And I don't know.
Oh,
if that
you're so smart. You make it then.
But no, you hate Mario Maker now. Holy shit, he's right.
I got so sick of 100 Mario Challenge because when you get to hard mode, the levels are all terrible. They're all so bad. They're all so bad, guys.
You pieces of shit. Leave Nintendo to the development.
Yeah, it made me really appreciate the event courses because they're like actually good courses. So, but yeah, no, it was a good game. It's just I think I said this when the game first came out. You get as much out of it as you put into it. So you have to put your own effort into it, which takes effort. And I'm a lazy fuck. So yeah, um, yeah, that's basically all I had to say about it.
My review was dated in like a week.
Yeah, you wanted
Yeah.
checkpoints, and then immediately after there were checkpoints. So
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I guess my reviews had the same impact when Ted says nothing's gonna happen. A Metroid game won't get announced next year. Let's see if I have that same power too. Maybe it's contagious.
we're over the internet, John. I can't contage anything.
Hey, Ken, internet virus.
That's not a.
That's not how computer viruses work.
I gave it a cold. I gave it a virus. A computer virus.
Oh man.
What else came out around that time of year?
What time did Mario Maker come out?
Mario Maker was September.
Well, as we're slowing down, I think
There's-
it's pretty obvious.
Well, there's one here on the list that I will not stop hearing about. Undertale. Did any of you guys play that?
Undertale. Oh yeah.
Oh yes, Undertale.
Uh,
I own it. I haven't gotten into it yet, though. It was something that a Steam friend gifted me, but I haven't had time.
I was interested when I first heard about it because one of the things I saw when reviews first went up was that you could play through the game without a single character dying, and I was like, "That's interesting. Maybe I'll give it a shot." I don't want to say it was the fan base that made me not want to play it because that's not necessarily it. It was once I started seeing GIFs and images pop up on my Twitter feed, and not
Becoming
like
memes everywhere.
no, that's not necessarily what it was. Although it did get a little bit annoying. It was more the more I saw the dialogue and the art style. To me it was trying. I don't like saying this phrase "trying too hard" because it's not really what I mean. But it was very clearly trying to be something that people would screen cap and put on Twitter. If like there was a quote that's like, "Here's the garbage can. You can visit it whenever you want to." That's a meme. It's to me it seems like it's trying too hard to be like it's trying to hit a certain kind of a note that I don't personally. It's being too. It kind of to me feels like it's a little bit not full of itself. I'm having a hard time trying to explain why it gives me issues, but I get the same kind of vibe from it that I got from Earthbound that turns me off from Earthbound. So obviously, like,
Is it a
Yeah.
game that has its finger on the pulse? Or is it just the result of a lot of hungry fanboys and girls for a mother game they're not getting?
I don't know, but like again, I know I'm the weird one here for not liking Earthbound and Mother. So, but since
I have
Well,
I have no opinion on it if that makes you feel any better.
Something I want to say is that while Undertale does have a somewhat similar art style to the Mother series, particularly to the 8-bit Mother 1, the gameplay and the overall flow of just the way everything works is not Mother series.
well, I'm sure
The
I'm sure that the gameplay, like from a battle system perspective, is more interesting because from what I can tell, at the very least, Mother One and I've never played Mother One, but Earthbound is basically just Dragon Quest as bare bones
Yeah.
as you get. So
Yeah.
that's part of why I didn't get into Earthbound either.
It's more like Undertale is sort of like if someone took the negotiation mechanic from the Shin Megami Tensei games and tried to make a whole game out of it.
Oof. I'm not sure
Well,
how I
no,
feel about that.
That's
because that's always one of the most.
uncharitable as fuck. But you know, from what I hear and from what I've seen myself, it works. I'll have to play more to judge.
It
but-
would. It's you say that and like I'm immediately drawn back to Shin Megami Tensei 4. Oh, I'll join you if you give me $300. Give you yoink, and then you run away and you think you dumbass. You just gave money to a demon. What did you expect? But
One of the things I want to say is that some people about Undertale can be pretty obnoxious to other players. Like if a player decides to go the genocide route, that is a route in the game that has been programmed into the game, and it gives you an additional perspective on the game world. There is no law against killing something in Undertale. Do not get on other players' cases for playing it in a way that is not like yours.
You know what? Those are the kind of people I don't want to meet.
As far as I can tell,
when it
too,
comes
the
to
genocide route is supposed to make you feel bad about doing it, too. So, don't shame someone for doing something. The game's already doing that job for you, as far as I can tell. But, I don't have much interest in Undertale, personally. I know it doesn't look like it appeals to me, is the biggest thing. So,
I am so goddamn torn on it.
What
because
you might like about it is probably what I will dislike about it, and that's okay. So, yeah.
I don't know. It's the sort of thing about being in this sort of... Well, what I do is people go on and on about how they want you to do this, want you to do that. Undertale, I've gotten so many goddamn requests for that. Unfortunately, my expectations are now set to a certain level. Like, I'm expecting the greatest goddamn game since... I don't know.
John, that's exactly why I ended up disliking Earthbound in the first place, was because the fan base put it on such a high pedestal that it didn't need it.
It's
like
there's
more.
A part of me that fears, not too much, because I'm a grown ass man. I can do whatever the fuck I want. There's a part of me that is afraid that I won't like the game, and then I'll be endlessly hounded by people that say you just don't fucking get it. And then I just gotta go spend 8 hours of my day just hounding those guys.
Sort of like what happened with Hotline Miami.
Oh yeah. Apparently I didn't get the game. That's okay. That's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I will say. I'm torn.
There's a certain amount of caution that you have to approach a series like this with, where it's got that kind of fan base. And to me, I've just approached a mental place where I don't give a fuck. Someday I'm going to be in the mood to play Undertale. I'm going to boot it up. I'm going to enjoy it for what it is, if there's something to enjoy. And all those other people in the peanut gallery can go look at something.
Because there are people like that. There's people that say, God, I hope he shares my opinion with this game, otherwise I don't know how it feels. Like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean?
It's
like, who cares? Like, if I don't like something that you enjoy, why the fuck should you lose sleep over that?
Last time I checked, John likes SA2 less than SA1, and I like SA2 more than SA1, and we're still friends. At least John, are we still friends?
I think no.
Oh.
It's kind of funny that you say that, because some people in the comments have taken the playful bickering that happens in our commentaries.
Oh, don't tell me they take it seriously.
So goddamn serious. Some of them it's a rare thing, but when it happens, it headaches.
And I'll just say right now, and just talking to those people, you people are fucking morons. Just those people that take that shit seriously. You guys are fucking idiots.
Well, if that stuff seriously got between us, we wouldn't be doing commentaries together in the first place.
We wouldn't invite Gareth back.
Undertale, I'm interested, but I keep myself distant from the fan reactions, because I don't like letting fan bases ruin things for me, and I'd rather not get too invested in whatever it is they're pushing.
I am still waiting a bit for the hype to die down, because it's not as strong as it used to be.
I still see GIFs all over the place.
But if you guys want something to blunt your expectations just a little bit, to get the karma back in balance, you should know that Undertale was made in Game Maker.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's actually, that's not like making me be like, oh, this game's gonna. That's actually like. That's impressive to me.
Yeah, actually, it is. And, a lot of people give game development programs like Game Maker or RPG Maker crap, but when people do well with them, they do really well with them.
Okay. Well, anyway, we should...
Yeah, go ahead. Where exactly on the timeline are we? I've lost track.
September-ish. So the only other
Which
game I played in September was Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer. Goddamn amiibo cards, man. My goddamn wallet's making me
you and
cry.
Emil both.
I was really upset too because like it took me like 12 packs of cards to get Henry, my favorite villager, in my New Leaf town, and just a couple of weeks ago he left my village without giving me any notification that he was going to leave, and I haven't touched Animal Crossing New Leaf since because it hurts. It hurts a lot. But I know that I'm the only person here who's played Happy Home Designer. It's a lot like Mario Maker. You get as much into it as you put out of it. But if you want kind of like a little dollhouse where you can like play with all your favorite Animal Crossing characters and have them do cute things, it's worth your time. If not, then whatever. But um, anybody else play anything around that time? Or
A little bit, and my biggest disappointment of the year, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5.
Aw.
Oh, yeah, I was actually kind of interested in that, but then I heard it was basically kind of crap.
It's garbage.
There
Absolute
hasn't
garbage.
been a Tony Hawk game in like a good 5 years too, so I was expecting it to be pretty like there was.
I don't think there's been a Tony Hawk game since the PlayStation 2, has there?
I think there was like maybe one or two on the PS3.
Or
But
360, yeah.
yeah, but skating games had died down because skateboarding isn't cool anymore. It's now the thing that people think is like that adults are supposed to think is cool, but is now actually lame. So wrap your head around that for a little bit. But I was hoping that it would be good. And as far as like what makes it bad, Ryan?
It's missing things you could do in previous installments, especially ones you could do on the PlayStation 1, which has no excuse.
Oh, so
Really,
it's Star Wars Battlefront.
yeah, a lot of bad, no real
no
interesting,
hesitation.
no real interesting music, and it's just buggy as all hell.
Okay, that's a shame.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's basically why I put it as my biggest disappointment over Battlefront, because at least you can still play Battlefront.
Oh, I just like how you answered that, like just completely straight faced, no hesitation. Yeah. Oh man.
One of the only big games that I played was Yoshi's Woolly World. Did anybody
Yeah, I was
else
about
here
to
get a
bring that
chance
up.
to play that at all?
I have not.
I've played a little bit of it, but I've made mention that I'm not the biggest Yoshi fan in the world, because my opinion is going through the levels just straight through is way too easy, but getting everything is way too annoying.
I liked Yoshi's Woolly World, but I tried
Yeah,
to play it again.
from what little I've played and what I've seen of it, it looks like it's trying to mitigate that some.
That kind of makes it sound like Croc Legend of the Gobos.
Yeah, maybe.
Getting through the levels is too easy, but getting everything is too hard.
The thing about Yoshi's Woolly World is that I really liked my first playthrough. I tried to play it again like 2 weeks ago, and I lost interest very quickly, and maybe it's something I have to give more time to, personally. But the thing about it's a great game. I do think it mitigates a lot of the issues that the Yoshi games had, because if you want to 100% the level, you don't have to get everything in one run. Thank Christ. That is always the biggest thing.
Well, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do.
I wish you could just start selected like Donkey Kong Country, but oh well.
Yeah, but what do you mean by start selected in Donkey Kong Country?
Well, more so DKC 2 and 3, but if you're missing something in a level, as long as you've beaten it, the second you collect, say, the DK coin or a bonus coin, whatever, you can just start selecting, leave the level, and it'll count.
Oh yeah, you're right. Some Kirby games do that too. You do have to beat the level in order to
Do that, but
yeah, but you can do a run where you don't get hit. You can do a run where you get all the coins. You can do a run where you get all the flowers. And the only thing when it comes to the collectibles is that everything has a purpose except for not getting hit. But you have to not get hit in order for the level to be considered 100%. So that's a little bit annoying. But the game looks great. It sounds great. It's fun to play. I just don't think that I'm gonna have very much. It's a shame that I don't think I'm gonna have an awful lot of incentive to play through it again now that I've 100%ed it. And I for a game that's for a 2D platformer that's on the Wii U, like it's a short game by its nature, so you kind of want it to be a little bit more replayable, I guess, is just the thing. But the Yarn Yoshi amiibos are super cute and fluffy, and I love them. So, mwah.
Well, you're gonna have to play it one more time because you signed up for it for the channel.
Yeah, but we are also going to want to do Yoshi's Island and Yoshi's Story first. So,
True.
and I guess
They
that
wanna use the
means,
story.
yeah, John, you can get Yoshi's Island DS if you want.
Oh. Oh. Okay, that might be foreboding this time. No, I don't think Yoshi's Island DS is a bad.
No, it's not bad. It's just not interesting.
Yeah, it's not interesting. I think it's the best word. Oh, okay, it's boring. Anyway, I think that's where I cap off because I think the most recent game I have on my list is Mario Maker.
Oh wow, you
Yeah.
just
I
haven't
have-
had time
I
for
have-
anything new.
Yeah, I've been busy with marathons and all that stuff.
No.
In due time, my most recent game will be Phantom Pain when I get to the marathon aspect of it. But yeah, I just haven't had the time to really play anything new. Everything has been either something on my backlog or a re-release of an old game, and I just use that as an excuse to revisit it.
Okay.
Because I also have Final Fantasy VII on here on my list because that came out on the PS4.
Bump.
And
How many ways are you gonna own that game, John?
I have 18 Sonic ones, Ryan.
Why?
Oh man.
Why?
You would buy Shovel Knight 18 times. If
No,
it was on
I
different
bought
consoles.
it twice. Okay, and that's it.
Oh, I got it 3 times.
Oh well, aren't you special?
Get on my level, Ted.
Okay, Mr. Johnson.
Well, one thing I did play that was slightly later was a Fatal Frame Maiden of the Black Water on Wii U.
Oh, I had
Oh,
that. I
yeah.
have that downloaded. I know the prologue and the first chapter are free. I have
That's
it
all
down.
I've played because I haven't bought the full game yet.
I need to play it because that does look pretty interesting. But I'm not a
own
horror
it.
person.
I own it because I'm a pretty big Fatal Frame fanboy, except for Fatal Frame 3. That game's just kind of meh. But but I own it. Like I purchased the full game, but I can't play it because the Xenoblade Chronicles X data packs take up too much of my Wii U hard drive, and I don't have enough
Nintendo, give us a bigger
thing
HDD for
for it.
fuck's sake.
30 gigabytes was too little for the PlayStation 3, like, what, 10 years ago? I mean, jeez.
The NX
but
better have
yeah.
like 100. How much is it as standard now? 300 or 5?
500.
Yeah, they better have at least 3 then. So
If I were them, I'd recommend like
Well-
1 terabyte at this point.
Yeah, your standard mid-range desktop comes with a 1 terabyte hard drive. I know because I bought a mid-range desktop with a 1 terabyte hard drive. So, yeah, jeez.
yeah. But how much? Did you like what you played of it, Ryan?
Yeah, it was definitely enjoyable. It's just a shame that it's a download-only game.
Yeah, they weren't initially going to release that here. We didn't get Fatal Frame 4 at all.
Nope, and then we
But,
pestered them enough to say, okay, here.
Yeah, around the same time, Sega decided to release Yakuza 5 as well as a
Yeah.
download only. So, yeah, coincidences. But some Japanese developers are starting to see potential in the download only market as a means of cutting costs releasing games abroad. So, yeah, we might start seeing more games that we wouldn't ordinarily get.
I'd rather have them
I'm
as download
optimistic.
onlys than to not get them at all. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah. And the Yakuza series in particular is really good. I recommend checking that series out, or if you're not that curious, check out Hyperbit Heroes video on the Yakuza series. It's like an hour long, and it
Yeah, I was about to bring
basically
him up because
spends the whole time gushing.
he spends
Yeah.
the entire video doing that, and he just posts on Twitter all the time about Yakuza stuff.
It's a really great series. I recommend trying it. The first game is being remade, so that's something to look forward to.
I just realized I didn't scroll down here all the way. The last 2 games I have here on my list are the Steam versions of Final Fantasy 5 and 6.
ooh,
Oh,
And,
Well, that sounds right there.
mods are
sums it
working.
up.
Why
Mods
is
are
my
working
6 so ugly?
They're working their asses off to fix the game. Because 5 has problems in itself. The battle sprites look amazing. Like, the enemy sprites look fantastic. It's like everything else either is blurry as shit or you can fucking count the tiles. There are
Yeah.
already mods to remove that sort of thing, so I'm happy about that.
well, it shouldn't be hard to just take the SNES assets and put it into a mod for the game. Well,
Yeah, or fix up the new
Well,
sprites.
the real problem is that although the graphics were made shinier for mobile phones, they were made shinier for mobile phone size screens. So when you play the game at a higher resolution, you start to be able to see the seams,
well,
Yeah.
you
like the
know,
literal
It looks
lines
horrible
between
blown up.
tiles.
you say that, but personally, I hated the character sprites even back when they were shown on mobile phones.
Well, yeah, the art style is kind of hit or miss. I'm not a big fan of it myself, but I can live with it. It's
Yeah.
it's the environment tiles that bother me. But what bothers me more than the graphics are the battle combat menus in Final Fantasy VI. That is not how. Like, all right, I get it. Those menu systems were made for a touchscreen, but this is not a system people are going to be playing with a touchscreen. Include the option to have the old menus back, because
Yeah.
it's just ugh.
That interface is ugly as shit on a console or the Steam version of the game.
Console, PC, whatever.
It doesn't
It's
work.
ugly, and it actually, when you're playing with a controller or a keyboard, it actually takes longer to navigate the menus now, which is kind
Yeah.
of a problem when you're dealing with a real-time combat system.
Yeah, because the game is still set up as if you're using a touchscreen. That's not the case. You know, in the Super Nintendo or Game Boy Advance version of Final Fantasy VI, I can multi-target just by hitting the shoulder button. That's all I had to do. And now in this game, I have to select the spell, I have to select the multi-targeting option, and then I have to select what I'm multi-targeting. You know,
Eh.
it's more processes for an action that only took fewer steps in previous incarnations of the game, and they didn't optimize it for the Steam release, and that drives me nuts.
Yeah. Although in the short time I've played, I haven't seen any environment seams. So
Yeah, I mean there are no tiles. I can't see the tiles, but this is definitely one of those. I can't wait for mods to tear it apart and fix it because
Yeah.
please change that interface back to what I can use because as of now I can't. I don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
I bought it, but I don't want to touch it.
Well, I legally own the game, but I'll just take that as permission to play the advanced version on an emulator, thanks. Yes, I'm aware that's not how it works, commenters, but, just
I don't think anyone
allow me
cares.
my sarcasm.
I guess up next is Ted and Catherine's favorite pastime, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival.
That game is so cute. I get that nobody likes it. I get that we're like the only two people on the planet that enjoy it, but it's relaxing to play. I'm going to put it that way. I think what Animal Crossing is supposed to be a relaxing game to play, and so it's a relaxing game of Animal Crossing game you can play with your friends. And I've got all the Animal Crossing amiibo now because I got Tom Nook for Christmas. So yeah. But we have videos where we play the game. It's cute. There's a lot of funny dialogue scenes. I get that it's not super exciting, and it's basically just an Animal Crossing version of Monopoly. So but I think that it's got enough charm in order to overcome that. So
It doesn't tear friendships apart like Nintendo's every other multiplayer franchise.
yeah. So last time I checked, me and Catherine are still friends. So I guess that's true. But there's not an awful lot to say about Amiibo Festival, but there's. Am I the only one who's played the Nintendo Badge Arcade with that goddamn rabbit? I love that guy.
I've seen screen caps of it. I feel no need to because the rabbit's the reason you play it at this point.
Well, I like
screen cap that.
Well, you can get a lot of you can get at least like one free play a day, and they give away free plays a lot. And they do have offers where if you buy some plays, you get a free Nintendo 3DS theme, which is normally like $2 anyway. So I'd be like, okay. And I do like I've got like a little Mario pin on my NES folders. I've got like a little Game Boy pin on my Game Boy, my Virtual Console Game Boy folder and stuff like that. So it's it's cute, it's fun, it's harmless for me. But it's just you compare that free to play game, which does it so well, and you compare it to something like Pokemon Shuffle or Pokemon P-Cross or any of the Pokemon free to play games really, where it falls into all of the freemium BS design that I hate. And you compare it to how well Badge Arcade does, it makes me sad that more people don't go that route, that you can make money off of a free-to-play game, because I have spent money on Badge Arcade and not make it feel like they're nickel and diming you.
It's like
I give money because I want to, not because I feel like I have to.
Yeah, it's like I like with Final Fantasy XIV, I bought quite a few of the microtransaction items so far, and they're
So have I.
completely useless to the gameplay. They're just cosmetic upgrades, and I do that because I'm having so much goddamn fun with the game. I'm not doing that because I need the microtransactions to win at PvP, and I'm certainly not doing it because you're throwing 6 bajillion sex appeal items at me like Terra does. Oh god, that game.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it's mostly vanity in my aspect, in my regard. So, just trying to show off. Wait, come back.
So we can all agree then Pink Rabbit for Smash 5?
He got his own Mario Maker costume, so it's possible.
What the fuck?
Although
Pink Rabbit for Smash 5 confirmed.
I was, at least an assist trophy where he like dumps a whole bunch of pins on you. That'd be hilarious.
Ridley badge confirmed.
No, it just gives you a big ass lecture why you got to pay for DLC.
Let's be real here.
And when I'm talking about real, I mean this real. Yeah. Battlefront came out around that time, though, right? Okay, you might
We're
have.
talking Star Wars.
Just
Yeah.
Buy Battlefront 2 while it's like $3 on Steam, and you'll get more bang for your buck.
I still
My
have my
brother Mark
PS2
has-
version.
My brother Mark has the game on Xbox One, and he loves the hell out of the multiplayer.
But that's all there is.
Yeah, but I think that's all he cares about, so it's a win-win for him.
Sure.
Yeah, but you want to know what was great about the previous Battlefront games, particularly Battlefront 2? You could also enjoy it in single player. There was stuff to do.
I got you.
It's like what is with developers falling into this trap of thinking gamers don't want to play on their own sometimes,
I mean, it's
why
also
not
one of
do both.
It's also one of those, if it's purely multiplayer focused, the second those servers go offline, you now have a piece of junk disk.
Well, here's the thing. There are a lot of games that come out that are clearly intended for the multiplayer. And so the single player campaign is a half-assed piece of shit that nobody plays
Yes,
or cares
but
about. So I'm not
most-
against the idea of a multiplayer only game, but there has to be at the very least an offline mode where you can play against computers or something. So, like, again, the
Well-
moment the servers go down, you're not left with something that doesn't work.
Or at least make a LAN mode or something.
Here is my issue. Okay, this is not Warhawk, it is not Titanfall, it is not a multiplayer exclusive franchise, it is not Destiny, it is Battlefront, a game title, a franchise that is connected to a game series that had perfectly serviceable single player elements in previous entries, so why do you not have that now?
Typical EA.
Yeah, it's a shame that certain developers get so much flack for doing certain things and they keep on doing them. So it must mean that it must work, which is the sad thing.
Yeah, but here's the thing, okay? Dragon Age Inquisition has multiplayer. Mass Effect 3 has multiplayer, but you know what those things do have? Single player.
A soul. It has a soul.
The stuff that people bought the previous games for. That's kind of important when you're using the name of a game series that has an existing player base. Like I played Battlefront 2 on my PlayStation 3, not exactly to death, but I played it quite a bit, and I had a lot of fun. My brother played it quite a bit, and we had a lot of fun. And that was, quite a lot in the single player. So, knowing that the new Battlefront doesn't have that element to it, I just can't bring myself to care anymore.
Yeah.
Oh well. You win some and you lose some. They did sort of just call it Battlefront instead of Battlefront 3, so I guess it's not a surprise that it's taking a step backwards.
The only other game I played this year was Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, which I did a review for on GameXplain.
We know how that turned out.
But apparently you all hate my review. So, I get
How dare you not like something you don't like?
Here's the
Fine,
thing.
I guess I'll never do a review for you again.
I didn't hate Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, though. That's the thing. People said I hated it. I didn't hate it. If I hated it, I would have said the game was I disliked it, which they have a dislike thing, or I think they also have a face for they hated it too. I'd have to ask Derek, but I didn't hate it. I flat out said I get why people like Mystery Dungeon. It did nothing for me, like there were aspects of the combat I thought were interesting, but in the end it was very repetitive and samey, and I just got bored, so I put it down. And, the story was nice.
Shush, non-believer.
Okay, yes, sir,
Yeah,
Mr. Internet Comments, sir.
Repetition in different types of games is going to appeal to different types of players in different ways, and well, Ted gave the game another shot. Gave the series another shot. This time it didn't appeal to him either.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. So, again, I'd only played one Mystery Dungeon game before that. That was on the Game Boy Advance, and that was 10 years ago. So that was hardly experience. So it was just maybe I'll like it this time. And you know what? It was So yeah. But that's basically all the news.
So fuck you.
Okay. Yeah. Is there anything else that's left, though? Because
my year's done.
Yeah, same here.
Well, I've got Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Okay.
Okay.
The game
I got half an hour to kill.
Well, I'm not going to go too deep into it. If you want an in-depth review, Game Explain, Derek did the review for Xenoblade X.
Which was also a half an hour long.
Yeah, it was a long and very in-depth review. And also, if you want to dip into the pre-release stuff, Chugga Conroy gushed about it for quite a long while, along with Missei and Derek.
Well, that was hardly a surprise considering his views on the first game.
Yeah, but he was pretty damn balanced about it, and playing the game myself, the complaints he raised are definitely complaints I was feeling myself, especially the way party member recruitment is handled, because instead of having 7 party members that travel around with you and you can freely switch them out whenever you want, Xenoblade Chronicles X has quite a lot of party members that you can recruit optionally and otherwise throughout the game, and you can only carry 4 with you. The 4 members in your active battle party. To change out party members, you have to physically go to where each party member is and talk to them. Which, yeah, it's kind of fucking tedious, but it's not so much of a drag on the game that it's a deal breaker or anything. It makes you reluctant to want to switch your party out. Because it's going to be a needless middle step before you can go deal with stuff. And it's kind of pointless because, as Chugga Conroy also brought up, they have fucking video communication devices that could just call each other up,
Yeah,
But,
it doesn't really,
yeah.
You're saying that, and it does seem kind of like a needless middleman step. That's always a thing that I suspend my disbelief for in RPGs. It's just why are only 4 people out when you've got 12 people in your party? Shush, it's a video game. It doesn't need an exploration. You don't Kane isn't sitting at home when he's not in your party. He's there, but you just pretend he's not there for video game purposes.
Well, I always rationalize it in a dungeon. The hallways are kind of narrow, so you can only have so many people up in the front lines at one time. Otherwise, things would get cluttered and you would endanger each other. But in any case, I started on a negative, but Xenoblade Chronicles X is a really great game, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. It is, to me, the game that justifies me actually owning a Wii U. It's big, but not needlessly so, and there are, much like Xenoblade 1, there's a lot of convenience to make up for that size that makes it so that you're not, outside of 1 or 2 specific places in the game, you never feel like the landscape is wasting your time. You never feel like you're taking too much time to get to your objective in the first place. You can be really, really efficient with how much you get done as well. So progress feels streamlined, even though the game is frankly one of the biggest games I've ever played. And, Xenoblade Chronicles 1 had that as well. There are some aspects of Xenoblade 1 I honestly prefer, like the story felt more focused in Xenoblade 1, because although it had a lot of wide open to it, it also felt like it had, it still had that linear JRPG storyline structure where you go from one event to another in a specific order,
Yeah, when I went back to play, when I played Xenoblade 1 back in 2012, I was enjoying what I played. I was overwhelmed personally. Like,
Yeah, well,
Xenoblade is a game that if you really want to get the most out of it, you have to invest energy into it.
yeah,
And
energy and time.
yes,
But there is a piece of advice I'd like to give to anyone who's thinking of trying this game out for the first time. This applies especially to Xenoblade X, but also to a certain extent to Xenoblade 1. Don't try to do everything that becomes available the moment it becomes available, because then you're going to spend like 6 hours doing side quests, and there's no real need to do that.
that
Spread yourself out a little bit, you know.
yeah, that's one thing
Pace
that was
yourself.
it's if you do nothing. That was one.
Don't spread yourself out. Spread
No,
yourself
no,
out.
no, no. Spread your objectives out. Don't do all the side missions all at once just because you can. Do some, progress with the story, and then do some more.
Yeah, that was kind of what burnt me out was when I was first playing Xenoblade. I had basically ignored the fact that affinity was a thing between party members was a thing, and so when I realized that about 40 hours in, I went back and did nothing but affinity heart to heart stuff for like probably a good 5 hours, and that was what tired me out. That was what tired me out from the
Oh
game.
God.
So I know I'm not entirely fair to Xenoblade, and I say that whenever I talk about it. And it is a game I do want to go back and finish one day, but it's something that I need to make a project. So,
Well, in my case, it certainly helps that I watched a fair chunk of Chugga Conroy's Xenoblade Chronicles playthrough before starting the game myself. Because when I started the game, I had an idea of how to go through without burning out.
yeah, that
So
that's something that I might need to reference if I ever go back to it again. Although, that playthrough's like over 100 episodes long, and yeah,
it's just barely over 100 episodes long, including the post game, which Chugga actually had the good grace to complete after the end boss, so that he wasn't completely obscenely over leveled when he actually fought the final boss. So yeah, yeah.
oh man,
What was I gonna say? Xenoblade Chronicles X, though, I would call it a system seller. And that's not just for fans of the first Xenoblade, because frankly, it has no real connection that I'm aware of to the
I
previous
I
Xenoblade.
as far as I can tell, the only similarities are the battle system, the name of the little people, the
Downpawns.
Nopon.
Nopon.
Yeah,
Okay, that was it. They're
yeah,
there. It's a similar battle system, but as far as I can tell, that's
yeah,
the only thing that's similar. But there's no story connection, as far as I can tell. Or if it is, it's
yeah.
minor.
And I talk about my thoughts in greater detail on my solo channel Let's Play, but the bottom line is it's a very well constructed game. It has a bit of a learning curve in the combat mechanics department, but I recommend that people try it out. Well, for one thing, it's a lot fucking easier to get a hold of than the original Xenoblade.
It'll
So
never
if
go
you've
out
ever
of
been
print
interested,
on on the eShop.
yeah, well, at least in America. In Europe, Xenoblade 1 is piss easy to find, but that's because it was actually intended to be released there and only came out in America in relatively small quantities.
Damn you, GameStop.
If you've ever been interested in trying Xenoblade 1, I recommend trying Xenoblade X to see if the gameplay at least clicks with you. And then if it does, and you like it, or maybe there are some aspects of Xenoblade X that you didn't like, but the core gameplay interests you, go give Xenoblade 1 a try, and it might click with you even better.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It,
that is
it's
my...
it's weird that you say that the Wii U has a system seller now. It's like it's a shame. The Wii U does have a game that can satisfy almost every urge. Well, except for traditional RPG.
a game.
Yeah, except for traditional RPGs, which I'm hoping Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem scratches, but it's also 4 years into its life cycle. It's a shame that this
Yeah.
is probably the last full year for the Wii U. Like,
Yeah.
it's a
But
it's
then
a
maybe Nintendo should stop making consoles that are a whole generation behind in terms of hardware. Yeah, maybe that would
Speaking
help.
of which, I think that's a good segue into what we hope for next year.
next year. I'm really glad that my 3DS is going to have RPGs to play again. That's going to be fucking fantastic.
Paper Jam.
um,
What, you don't like Paper Jam?
it's kind
Your
of a
disgust disgusts me.
it. Paper Jam's kind of a slap in the face to people who want a new Paper Mario game. Is really why it like. Here's the thing, like.
Well, maybe you should have appreciated Sticker Star more.
Shut up. Anyway, that's the biggest thing I'm looking forward to in 2016 are the 3DS RPGs. Final Fantasy Explorers, Bravely Second, Final Fantasy 7 and 8, and Hyrule Warriors Legends. I'm going to have a
and Dragon Quest 7
and
8.
I'm sorry.
I was about to say they're releasing Final Fantasy 7 and 8 on the 3DS. What?
No, Dragon Quest 7 and 8.
There goes another copy.
Yeah.
And Dragon Quest 8 is a fantastic game. I think you'll enjoy that.
I just got the PS2 fucking version of that game.
You also forgot Fire Emblem Fates, Ted.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. So
all 3 versions of it.
I've got the special edition pre-ordered. What I'm planning on doing is playing one route, playing something else, playing another route. That's what I did for Shin Megami Tensei 4. So yeah, I'm really glad because 2015 there were not a lot of RPGs on the 3DS, and I felt very empty inside. So my portable RPG urge will be quelched. Well, it's kind of like it's going to be overwhelming because they're all going to be dumped on me, but whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, and of course the reveal of the NX because we know it's going to happen. I hope it ends up being good and having a launch lineup worth a damn. Because that's what's going to determine whether or not the system does well, is if it has a launch lineup worth a damn.
Man,
no gimmicks this time, please.
Have we had like a really, really good launch library for a system since the PS2?
Not that I can think of.
GameCube.
Because the PS2 had a fantastic launch.
The GameCube window was pretty good.
Yeah, well, I count window because honestly, the system isn't going to be done selling because Christmas, obviously. But the Wii, there were some really good games, but as a window, it was kind of 3DS was very no, I don't think we have. Yeah. Yep.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, what about the rest of you guys, though? What are you looking forward to in 2016?
Let's see.
Persona 5.
Yeah, Persona 5.
That's a thing.
Hopefully, Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Persona 5 was supposed to come out, I think, at the end of the year, but it was pushed back.
Yep.
Very quietly so, too.
There was also supposed to be a new Sonic game, so
There's always a new Sonic game.
Surprising, so.
Oh, yeah.
25th anniversary and all that.
Sonic Boom Fire and Ice.
I hope it's a good one.
Sonic Boomer.
Sonic
Fire
Genesis 2,
Ice.
Genesis Harder.
Sonic bombed.
Sonic boomed.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting.
There's Shin Megami Tensei # Fire Emblem, whatever it's called.
Yeah, that came out today in Japan. So hopefully that's going to be a niche title no matter what. Because of the vibe. But I hope gameplay wise it's good. Maybe I'll find.
I'm hearing from Derek it's good.
Okay, well that's good to hear.
Well, I wasn't really doubting that it was going to be good as an RPG, but at the same time, it's so oppressively anime that I just see half the gaming community bad mouthing it anyway.
Say oppressively
anime in the sense that it's very otaku.
The main thrust of the story is that everybody in your party are performers of some sort of way. Like the main girl character wants to become a J-pop idol. There's a J-pop idol on the team. The comic relief guy is like a performer at one of those stunt show things they do. They've got an actor. So there's a lot of J-pop and specifically Japanese culture influence all throughout the game. In J-pop music is a major theme, so it's very, very anime and very, very Japanese in a way that will turn people off.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of players in the West aren't going to like, just on principle. And, those are not all of them, but quite a lot of them are the sort that would call you weeaboo trash for even considering liking such a thing. But, the bottom line is it's probably going to do okay here, but not monumentally so. Like, it's not going to do the console any massive favors
No,
sales-wise.
it's just gonna be nice to have a traditional RPG finally on the system.
It's going to be nice to have a fucking turn-based RPG on a console again.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
Why so much Awakening though? Why not represent some of the other games?
It's only Awakening and the first game. That's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. John, is there any game you're specifically looking forward to in 2016? Because you haven't
For
mentioned
the
it.
right or wrong reasons.
Both.
Both.
What are the wrong reasons?
Federation Force.
Oh, wait. Are you looking forward to the game or the reactions?
Both, I guess. I mean, I'm looking forward to the game, obviously, because I honestly do want to see how it plays out and whether or not if it is legitimately interesting. And that's the case, and I think that's the biggest fucking middle finger you can give to non-believers. It's like, hey, fuckers, it's actually a good game.
Well, I don't think it's going to be a bad game by any stretch. It's just probably...
Yeah. But it's still, like, I think no matter what, the fact that we haven't seen any new info of that game since E3 bothers me.
It means that they're really shaking stuff up. It happens a lot. So, I'm sure that the next build of the game we see is going to look nothing like what we saw at E3, for better or for worse.
We'll see what happens. I am curious about it at the very least. And
well, all they really need to do to satisfy people is to like add a single player campaign as Samus.
No, what they need to do to satisfy people is just to make a different Metroid game. That's like a traditional Metroid game, and then people will stop bitching about Federation Force. It's gonna happen, I'm sure of it.
Well, it's not just traditional Metroid fans that are annoyed. It's also specifically Metroid Prime fans who want another Metroid Prime game.
Yeah, but
which is not entirely the same fan base that wants 2D Metroid.
I understand that, but I think that they're going to get the bulk of the bad press wiped out by having either a traditional Metroid or a Metroid Prime, just something that feels more like what the series is known for. Anything else, John?
Zelda.
Wii U Zelda, yeah.
Wii U / probably NX Zelda.
Shantae, Half Genie Hero, my number 9.
Final Fantasy VII Remake?
Forward.
The 7, part 1 of the 7 remake. I still think that that's 2017.
For part 1?
Really? If it releases in 2017, that would just be fucking perfect, because that would mean exactly 20 years.
I don't know. I think the fact that it's going to be episodic means that we're probably going to get part 1 sooner than you would think.
Because you see, they've said that the episodes are going to be the same as full-length games because of how massive the game and the world are.
I think a lot of that's PR talk.
I think a lot of it makes sense, considering Final Fantasy VII is freaking globe-trotting massive compared to the way modern RPGs are. Like, I say Xenoblade Chronicles X is like one of the largest games I've played. It still only covers like one fucking continent. So, yeah, take that for whatever it's worth.
I still think we're probably going to see it next year, but we'll find
Hopefully
out.
by the end of next year we get some Kingdom Hearts 3 release date. I'd like that.
That game's never going to come out. You do realize.
No, it's probably not.
It's the new Duke Nukem Forever.
That game was released
Kingdom
2 years
Hearts.
ago. I mean, announced 2 years ago. Sorry.
We've technically known about it since the end of 2, so.
But that's the name of the international version of 2, Lewis? 2 Infinity and Beyond?
No, that's just my way of saying Kingdom Hearts Forever without saying forever. And also alluding to my hope that Toy Story will eventually pop up in the Kingdom Hearts universe, because that would be kind of cool.
Kingdom Hearts 2.8, anybody?
Dream Drop, Final Mix, something or other. 358/2.
Man, fuck this series.
Yeah.
Fuck this series. I love the games, but fuck this series.
And I've given up on the spin-offs. I just want another console Kingdom Hearts game that I can whack Heartless with Keyblades in again.
You're not going to
But
understand
first, you have to
anything
play this
that's going on.
prequel iPhone game.
What about 2.9?
Nomura, you're high.
2.99999.
Oh, I can't stay mad at that face. You're hired again.
Oh, man. But,
I think that's about.
You know.
I'm excited for my amiibos next year. So much amiibos, like so much.
I just gotta get Ryu and Cloud, and I'm pretty set.
Animal Crossing
Yeah.
amiibos and Shovel Knight. I definitely need to get Shovel Knight. And Roy. I want to get Roy too. Oh wait, not Bayonetta, John.
Is that okay? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I guess another thing I'm looking forward to next year is the last of the Smash DLC.
It's the end. Sob, sob.
Yeah, that is pretty sad. It's been one hell of a train ride.
Okay.
Time to start hyping for Smash 5.
Yeah.
Oh god, if they do what you guys think they're gonna do and make a Smash for NX, I'm going to be supremely pissed off.
No, what I think they're going to do is probably make a complete version of Smash 4 for the NX.
And if they do that, I'm going to be pissed off because I already bought this game with the Smash DLC is expensive. So if I bought a $60 game and spent another 20 to 30 on DLC and they're just gonna
Well,
announce another complete
you
edition,
know.
I'm gonna be annoyed.
The thing that they could do is, well, since they've got Nintendo Network IDs and all that, if you happen to have purchased DLC for the previous version, they could just give you a discount on the digital release of the next version.
That would
That would be
soften
a nice
So
way
it
to
has some
compromise.
cross compatibility.
that
with
would
the Wii
soften
and
the
3DS
blow, but I'd still be irritated. I would say.
version. What if that had ice climbers?
I could just see Ted.
That is the sound of Ted buying 3 copies.
Damn it!
Shut up and take my money.
I hate Nintendo. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say bad things about you. Wait, hold on. Do Ice Climbers get an amiibo?
Most
It
likely.
would have to. if
Okay,
it wants
fine.
To keep that a functionality.
Fine.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
All right. I can already tell that we're tired. Is there any last thoughts?
Here's to a wondrous 2016. Couldn't be any worse than 2015, to be honest.
Yeah,
Knock on
2015
wood
was
here.
kind of meh.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just sort of middling for the most part, but some cool stuff came out. And you know what? When you have a middling year like this and then something like Xenoblade X pops up at the very end of it, that's just fucking magical, man.
But yeah, I think we pretty much said everything we needed to say. And here's to E3 next year.
We can't already begin thinking about that, can we?
No, you're right.
Well, I mean, we
Hype
can.
train!
You got a long way for that bus stop, dude.
Dude,
Yeah, it hasn't even begun refueling.
dude, you call yourself a gamer and you don't even know that life is just the wait between one E3.
But what about the games they announced at E3? Do we even get...
Just a wait between one E3 and the next.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's a video game convention?
This train ride will never end.